Okay, thank you. I want to get us started because we have a lot of work to do, and it's important work, and it's important we get endorsements done tonight. So, thank you for coming to attention, and I'm going to call the meeting to order now at 6:35. Before we get started, the first order of business is swearing in. Yes.
I'd like to provide a point of order today.
What's your point of order?
I feel that the so-called Seaside Democratic Club should not be accepted as a legitimate cause. And in my opinion, and the opinion of many Democrats in Seaside, it's a secret organization that was created.
So if you have a moment, your point of order is what? That you would like
I don't think that anybody should be sworn in tonight to represent the Seaside Democrats. Instead, we should be allowed to start all over again and have all Democrats.
Okay, so let me speak to the point of order.
All right.
So I don't believe your point of order is in order because the Seaside Democratic Club was founded according to the rules of, and the Credentials Committee approved it, and this body basically credentialed that committee, I think in July or June.
So there's no requirement that, you can imagine the difficulty, say Democratic Women's Club. Can you imagine if they had the obligation before starting the club to notify all Democratic women in Monterey County? Impossible. So even though their name is CDEMs, they have no obligation to alert every Democrat in Seaside. They simply have to follow the rules, and that is 20 people and a roster and the bylaws, which they did. So there's nothing they've done that is out of order.
Okay, so at this time I'm going to call Lisa Berkley, who is being sworn in as an alternate for the Democratic Women's Club, Tyler Burrola, Gertrude Smith, Ian Oglesby, Jessica Garcia, and then not on the agenda because I just heard from Jennifer Rigney today that she is appointing her alternate as Walton. So I think I have all of them.
And they were going to ask that whoever is voting sits at the table.
Yeah, well, let's do this first. So if all of these would stand, that would be...
I'm sorry, and Ian's alternate as well.
And what was Ian's alternate?
Jesse Garcia.
Yeah, I mentioned Jessica Garcia. Sure. Okay, so, correct, Jessica Garcia Perez. Jesse Perez, yeah. Okay. So, would you all please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to these constitutions. That I will honor and uphold the bylaws of the Monterey County Democratic Central Committee. I take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And I will faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations and thank you. Okay.
Reminder, if they want to vote, they not pay their dues.
Okay, so yes, anyone who has not paid their dues or requested a hardship waiver, then make sure that you do that tonight because you need to be up to date on your dues to vote. Okay? So, also, if you are voting, if you have one of these, thank you for sitting at. If you don't have one of these, so if you are an alternate, if you're a primary and you're here, please sit at the table. If you are an alternate and your primary is not here, please sit here. But if you're an alternate and your primary is here, please sit on the side so that it'll make the voting much easier if only people are voting. And if you are a primary and for a particular vote, you're going to have your alternate vote, then please switch places at that time. Okay? Is that clear? Yes, let's promote here.
So
Okay.
yes. Someone is asking a question about what you just said.
Okay, so what I'm asking for is that basically voting members tonight sit at the table. So if you're a primary and you got one of these, if your primary is not here and you are an alternate and you're voting for them, then please come up and join us. It'll make it much easier. And then there may be instances where on particular votes, if somebody here is a candidate and they are abstaining and they want their alternate to vote, then switch places with the alternate at that time. Okay? Is that clear? All right. So, next we have the agenda review and approval, and I just want to explain one thing that's a little different. Normally we have public comments here, but because we have important business, mainly endorsements that are very timely, I had moved them to the end. However, I also understand that some candidates were hoping to come and speak during public comments, which they have every right to do. So I would like your approval to amend the minutes, the agenda, excuse me, so that we can have public comment for the purposes of the endorsement prior to endorsement. So that would be like, basically, that would become number 5 and everything else will move down. We'll have public comments for purposes of endorsement. Is there a second? Yeah.
Wait, would that also mean then that whoever is just supporting us just do that time or just candidates?
If there are people who are here to support candidates who aren't here, because everyone here is going to have a chance to speak during the endorsement process. So I would ask us to hold our comments until each person comes up. But I'd like to be able to give candidates, or if there are people here to speak for them, the chance to do that before we start to debate. 1 minute each.
1 minute.
So is there a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment? Okay, Pris? Okay. Is there any debate on that? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. So our next item is our monthly reports. The minutes from July are in there. And the part of the financial report, let's see, Holly. Okay. Okay, so are there any comments or questions on the financials or the minutes?
I have soft wet full reports that can be passed around if anyone wants to see.
Why don't you pass them around here first? So I will just say that the gala was a really good success. We'll talk more about that hopefully later if we have time. And that is not fully reflected obviously in the July financials that were in the agenda because we haven't had the event yet.
I do have preliminary numbers, but I think I might have just passed it around. If anyone wants the preliminary numbers, can you show it back?
Comment?
Thank you, Chair. Page number 3 of the minutes at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the address for Hopkins Retired Communication Chair. Tyler Williamson was suggested. I think that's Tyler Burrola.
Yeah, it should be Tyler Burrola. So we will amend the minutes as suggested. Yes.
Yeah, I had a concern at the last meeting about this topic that we have to speak on and I am affordable housing, and I'm going to have a topic that is focused on, since it's not just a private thing or city thing, it's a housing problem.
So if you will send what you would like reflected in the minutes to James and I will make sure that the minutes get amended.
It's on the table over yonder.
Okay, will that work? Then you can email us and let us know what you would like regarding that item. Okay, any other, I would entertain then a motion to approve the reports. Okay, Tyler Burrola, and second by Bill Anderson. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Thank you. Okay, so moving to the Endorsement Committee report. There's a couple things I want to say before I hand it off to the Endorsement Committee. The first one is, and this came as a reminder from past chair Vince Kohler, to remind everyone we do have a conflict of interest policy. So the conflict of interest policy, I think we adopted it in 2014. Basically, if you have a personal, the way the policy is written, if you have a personal or a financial interest in a particular endorsement, then you should declare that. And so when we get to endorsement, actually this might be the time, maybe this would be best to just do it before we get started. I'm going to declare that I have a personal conflict of interest in the races related to Monterey. I'm going to be abstaining from them. But does anyone else have a conflict of interest on comment?
I have a personal and financial conflict in the mayor's race for Salinas.
Okay, and you have an alternate here? Okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
don't have a conflict of interest, but I just want to make it known that I'll be abstaining from all endorsement votes because of my relationship that I'm
Okay. Yes, Adam?
I'm running for Marina City Council, so I probably don't vote for myself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yes.
just want to mention what your conflict of interest is. I just want to understand.
Well, the way it's written,
No, what is it? I mean, what do you mean?
so for example, the reason this came up was we had people in the past who were members of the Central Committee and voting for endorsements, and they were paid campaign managers. And so that's really primarily what I think the rule was targeting.
So it represents.
Go ahead and read that.
Okay, so here is the conflict of interest procedure policy. It's three bullet points. The MCDCC establishes the following conflict of interest procedure based on Robert's Rules of Order. 1, no member shall vote on a question in which she or he has a direct personal or pecuniary interest not common to other members of the organization. 2, the chair or any member of the committee may identify a situation in which this proscription obtains. 3, in cases where the member does not voluntarily recuse him or herself, the chair will rule whether or not the individual will be permitted to vote. The chair may be overruled by a majority vote.
Yeah.
I don't think candidates have to recuse themselves.
Yeah, they can vote.
You don't think that's a personal conflict of interest?
It's not a.
Okay, well, I would encourage them, if they have an alternate here, to have them, but that's fine. Okay, so any other conflict of interest declarations? All right, so then at this time, if there are any candidates who are here who would like to speak, could you raise your hand? So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, go ahead, 1 minute. If you could line up behind Jason, maybe. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you for all the good work you guys are doing. It's very important. I'm going to tell you how important this process is. I run for city council 2 times before. This is my 3rd time. I am the incumbent for Seaside City Council, and I respectfully ask for the endorsement. 6 years ago when I ran, I didn't get the endorsement. I lost. It's important. It really is important. I got the endorsement 4 years ago, and I won. And in those 4 years, I have basically voted Democratic values consistently for those 4 years. So my point being, if you are looking for somebody with a proven track record who absolutely believes in democratic values. We voted for a sanctuary city. We made marijuana dispensaries legal in our community. We have a homeless committee. We support the homeless. There are so many things we do that we absolutely, I think, all are on board with, that I really think by endorsing me, you will see a continuation of a change in Seaside which is beneficial to all of us. Thanks for your time. I have a meeting with the firefighters in a few minutes, so I'm going to scoot, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, and you might want to announce who you are too. Not everybody necessarily knows.
What was his name?
That was Jason Pino.
Yeah, did I not say
Okay,
it?
go ahead.
Hi, my name is John Wilson. I'm running for Seaside City Council. I'm currently on the County's Planning Commission. The very first meeting, I voted against the new oil wells down in South County because Measure Z was decided by the people, and that's how I feel about my role as an appointed official and how I feel about my role as an elected official. I'm there to represent my constituents, which is everybody, not the people who vote and not citizens. Everybody who lives in Seaside needs to have their voice represented, and that's what I will do as a member of the City Council. I'm on the current Seaside Environmental Committee. We're talking about making the parks better so that you can actually go to the park and not fall down and not get a mouthful of tumbleweeds. And those parks are awful, and we're trying to fix them through the Environmental Committee by finding new ways to use water and being responsible about the land that we've got. I've supported Democrats from the moment I was able to. When I got hurt at work, I immediately rebounded to come out and start carrying the Democratic banner. And every march under the sun, I went out to protest the Republicans at their headquarters. And my time's up. Bye, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Jones. I'm currently on the Seaside City Council and I'm running for mayor. I'm going to speak super fast because I have a long track record. So we've had Democrats as mayors in Seaside before. We currently have a Democrat as mayor, but we've never had a mayor that is as proudly progressive in their stances as I am and that has pushed for our values as much as I have. Democrats believe in housing affordability, environmental stewardship, higher minimum wage, increasing access to government, and we believe in LGBT rights. And since being on the council, I've advocated for every one of those beliefs. I established the Environmental Committee and the Committee on the Status of Homelessness. I've worked to make it easier for parents and women to participate in government by starting city-sponsored childcare so parents can attend our council meetings. I started on March 30th our first-time homebuyer program, so my residents can purchase homes on our new development site before Silicon Valley goes trying to get those homes. I pushed for a 15-hour minimum wage in Seaside and was stonewalled by a Democratic mayor and Democrats like him. I defended my LGBT residents when they felt unwelcomed in my community, and I sponsored the Pride Parade. And before Trump started tearing families apart and assaulting DACA students, I'm the one that pushed for Seaside to become a sanctuary city. So the modern Democratic Party looks like young people, women, people of color, LGBT people, and working families, and I embody all of that. Monterey County Democrats, our slogan is change that matters, and that matters in Seaside. We have an opportunity to have fresh vision and change new leadership, and we need to do what we do best as Democrats, which is inspire people to get out there and vote, and that's by electing progressive, forward-thinking candidates. I'm endorsed by Assemblymember Mark Stone, Supervisor Jane Parker, and I'm humbly requesting your endorsement tonight. Thank you.
I'm Henry Martinez Jr. The first person to challenge our current mayor in the past 10 years. I ran 2 years ago, lost, and I'm rerunning again. I wish I had more to say. This is my first time here. You know, I came to show support, and hopefully I in return I receive your guys' support. I just believe it's just time to change the system in our town. I'm running for mayor.
All right, thank you, Henry. Henry Martinez Jr.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avelina Torres. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay. Again, my name is Avelina Torres. I'm the mayor pro tem in the city of Greenfield, and I'm running for mayor. I've been on the Democrats since I was a little kid because my dad used to say, always vote with Democrats. So here I am. Anyway, thank you for inviting us all here today. I am an advocate for everything the Democrats believe, from homelessness to affordable housing to farm worker housing. And I also tried to bring to our city to condemn Trump administration for separating children from their homes. Unfortunately, some people on the council were not for it, but I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. They did not want me to use the word condemn, but I refused to remove that from what I wanted to do, and finally, it was agreed upon. I've also been a big advocate for our seniors and for our youth. In fact, I do give my stipend that I get from the city council being more pro tem to Oak Avenue School to support the kindergarten program. I have been a Democrat as long as I can remember even thinking, because of my family and what they stood for. Thank you, and I appreciate if you could please support me, and thank you again for everything.
What's your name again?
Belina Torres.
Thank you, Alvin.
Okay, if you need help spelling it, I can certainly tell you.
Okay, hang on 1 second. All right, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Angela Martinez-Montalon, and I am running for a council position in Greenfield. This is my first time, so I'm just really nervous, but I'm not sure if you guys have kept up with the city of Greenfield. Right now, we're very divided, but we're growing, and it's important. I've been a voting Democrat since I was 18 years old, and the reasons why I'm running big time, number one is the division around our city is unbelievable right now. You have half the city wanting economic growth, and the other half wanting it to stay the small little city that it is today. I grew up in Greenfield, born and raised, bought a home last year there, so it's important to me that we have economic development there. I'm also a pusher for youth recreation and senior recreation. I am right now currently in the process of trying to get a youth football program there in our city, so I've been, hopefully it'll be up by next year. But I'm very active with our youth in our city, so that's another big one for me. School zone safety is another important issue for me. So I really hope that you guys, pick to endorse me this year. I'm looking forward to campaigning, even though I'm terrified right now. But thank you so much for the invite, and I hope you guys endorse me. Thank you.
Angela Martinez.
Angela Martinez-Montalon.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Irene Garcia, and I'm running for the City Council in Greenfield. This is my first time running for any kind of office. I am very passionate about our city. As it was stated before, there is some division in our small city, and we're busting out of the seams. We need affordable housing, we need farm worker housing, and we need regular housing in our city. We are doing some growth as far as getting a new shopping center, but that also is being stumbled because of some people in the city that want to stop the progress. And I hope that I can be a good person and bring civility and stability back into our city council, which is sorely needed right now, and stop all the harassment that's going around. And also, I'm in the Parks and Recs Committee and also in the VNW Committee for the city. So I am very active in those roles, and also in the church, which also is getting involved in the politics in our city, which they cannot do, but they have done that before, and we need to put a stop to that. And I'm here to ask for an endorsement from you, the Democratic Party. I've always been a Democrat all my life. I believe in everything that it stands for. I will not change my party. So thank you very much for your time.
And Irene, what was your last name?
Garcia.
Garcia.
Hi, my name is Yuri Anderson, and I'm running for the Monterey Peninsula College Board of Trustees. I understand that you may not be getting to that endorsement tonight, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to stand up here and represent the residents of Area 2 and ask you to support a new candidate for that office. MPC is an incredibly important resource to our community, and unfortunately, we are suffering from a lack of leadership, particularly as it relates to the young and diverse community that is more and more becoming Marina, and that the college needs to be attending the college to be successful. So I just wanted to ask for your endorsement of my candidacy. If you've read my application, I'm going to I admitted in there, and I'm going to say it to you guys right here, I was 18, I was young and dumb, and I registered as a Republican. But I can distinctly remember when I went to graduate school in New York, and I was at a corner at 91st and Broadway, and there was someone registering people to vote in New York, and I said, this is my opportunity to change my party because I've been voting Democrat despite my registration, and I marched up to that person and I made the change, and I'm glad that I really did because I think the values of this party are far more reflective of who I am as a person and are really important to advancing our community. So I hope that if you have been paying any attention to what's happening at MPC, you'll know that we need strong leaders who are independent, who have vision, and who are looking to represent the people that they're actually a part of the community for, and that's who I intend to be as a trustee, and I hope that you will support my candidates.
Thank you. That was yours, Anderson.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jessica Madrid-Batista, and I'm also running for City Council in Greenfield, so good luck to everybody here tonight. Since 2008, I've been civically involved in our community. I advocated for an audit of our police department, and today I'm proud to say that, it's doing a lot better. I worked on numerous political campaigns, some successful, and for the last 3 years, I've been the fundraiser chair for Greenfield Little League, so I'm really actively involved in our community. This year, I'd just like to let you know that me and a small group of people were able to raise over $30,000 for our league. I don't shy away from hard work. I'm dedicated and enthusiastic. I believe that the city of Greenfield is lacking a great deal of ethics, and it's a very unwelcoming environment. I stand for balanced economic growth in Greenfield. I'm a homeowner, and I feel that it severely lacks services, for us in our community. I am excited about my campaign. I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you. And once again, good luck to everybody here tonight. Thank you very much.
What's your name again?
Jessica Madrid-Batista.
Good evening, my name is Ian. I'm running for mayor of Seaside. As you guys know, I was on the council for 8 years, and then I really wasn't participating with the Central Committee before, but I understand that I needed to have more people understand what I'm about, what I'm for. I'm not running against anybody. I'm running with my experience and leadership. So when you hear my competitor, which I have respect for, and other people on the council, I'm not going there with a whole bunch of new ideas because I think they have good ideas already. I just think there's no experience and leadership to get those things done. And that's not taken away from them. It's just the Democrat Central Committee has the ability to have a strong Democratic council on the Seaside Council by electing me or endorsing me. My opponent will still be on the council, so it's not either or. You can have both if that's what you choose to do. But again, I'm not coming here with a whole bunch of different policies because I think the policies that they have are good policies. So I support increase the minimum wage, livable wage, careers through local apprenticeship, housing for homelessness, and affordable housing. Support those things, parks and everything like that. Right now, I currently sit on the Planning Commission, so I'm implementing some of the things that the council is doing. So I'm just down the road with those things. So I'm not here to say either or when I have a similar idea. So I would ask for your endorsement, and thank you for listening.
That's
Ian Oglesby. Yeah, Oglesby.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me and for your time. I'm Henry Martinez, Sr., and I'm running for council. And my goal in Gonzales is the children in Gonzales is our future. And I believe that we should be funding, helping schools and whatever programs are available in Gonzales to educate our kids. And one of the things I want to do is, instead of sending them to Great America to have fun, we should be sending them to museums, zoos, so they can learn, and also trying to provide them free recreation. Our city's charging $150 to $150 a kid to go attend these programs. And I see my neighbor kids running around the streets because they can't afford the fees. I also volunteered a lot in Gonzales. I did the parent patrol. I did 20 years the carnival for the schools. And, you know, every guy likes helping in Gonzales, and, you know, I thank you for your vote. You can vote for me?
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Martinez.
Yeah.
Mr. Martinez, Senior.
Gonzales. One more deal. My daughter couldn't make it today. She's having babysitter problems because she has special needs children. And she's also running for school board, and she appreciates your support because she got involved with the mess that happened in Gonzales, the superintendent, when they fired the superintendent. She got involved because of our special needs children. She wants to support the school to make sure that the funding and teachers are not fired from special ed classes that these special kids need, and make sure the funding and all the programs for other kids, not just special kids, the kids get all the support. This is for Monique Martinez, School Board.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lupe Sanchez. I have sat here in this committee for about 2 years now. I've also been a Democrat for 22 years. I've always voted Democrat. I spent 18 years of my life working for the UFW, negotiating contracts, organizing drives, bettering the lives of farm workers, etc. With a bunch of stuff with them, right? So I'm here to ask for your endorsement and hope that I get it. So I'm running for Monterey County Board of Education, Area 7. Again, Ms. Sanchez, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. All right, are there any other candidates who wanted to speak, or any other members of the public not on the, okay, go ahead.
This is going to be hard. Let me see if I can target it right.
Okay, so my name is Wes White. I'm a Salinas resident running for Salinas mayor. I go to just about anything that's helpful and positive, civic, social, environmental justice. I've been, I guess, trying to redirect city council for the last 4 years, starting with my other opponent that we're endorsing. So I've learned a lot from him, but at the same time, I feel like I've made a strong impact. I've been trying to stir it. I'm a burner. Ran as a Berkley delegate, but I didn't have the popularity at that point, but I certainly got the heart and the drive and the desire. I've had it for a long time. I support other people. I stick up for other people I don't even know, because that's what you do. You do the right thing, and you go and you pick on the bullies. I mean, I'm tired of seeing all these little people getting picked on, and I'm there to want one big house. And that I think is the impact we need. And it's more, I mean, there's already so many programs that are doing well. It's the intention behind, that makes the jokes, that make the policy, and it has to not be mean-spirited. And that's what I'm trying to cure, a more nurturing, ethical administration. If you listen to a guy named Gustafson, he says 75% of everybody in that realm with the city and the county, they're in on it together, where it's like, well, we don't have to care about people, we're just here to make money. And numbers cannot be more important than people. Paper cannot be more important than people. Profit cannot be more important than people. Revenue. These things, it's about people. What does public service mean? It's about serving the public. So Wes White for Salinas mayor.
Thank you, Wes.
Good evening, Amit Pandya, running for mayor of City of Salinas. If you know Salinas, you know we got some issues. We have an issue with transparency in the government. We have issues in infrastructure. We have issues with affordable housing. We have a homeless issue. As a matter of fact, we spent $6.1 million to fix our homeless population in Salinas in the last 2 years. That money hasn't gone into the idea of fix it. In the infrastructure, we passed a measure that would bring $93 million to the city, $3 million a year for 30 years. That would fix all the streets and sidewalks. The city promptly went to a bonding agency, got $30 million in hands, and assigned their right to collect the tax for 30 years to them. That $30 million, 21 of which is going to fix the vibrancy program in Old Town. This is how they spend our tax money. We have transparency issues where we have a mayor who sits on the council and openly lies to the people, recorded on the council meetings, and admits to having behind the closed door meeting without agenda. Brown Act violation. The rock road speech. Salinas has been influenced by Republican values for far too long. It is time we stand up. It is time we speak up. And it is time we vote for a big change in Salinas. For a cleaner, better, and safer future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Okay, any other candidates? I'm not seeing it, or any other members of the public. In other words, you're not going to be speaking during the endorsement. Okay, then I'm going to, Bob?
Can we speak in favor of a candidate?
What?
Can we speak in favor of a candidate?
Yes, 1 minute.
I'm Bob Cole, I'm a Seaside resident for 21 years, and I do hope that you will overwhelmingly vote Taylor Jones for mayor of Seaside, as well as support both John Richard and David Campbell for the city council. When Karen came on the council, he was the leading person who was elected by over 1,000 votes. We in the city of Seaside were tired of that leadership that we had, people who were pushing so hard to Monterey down and supporting Callahan. Our current mayor still has not come out against Callahan in support of our publicly take over the water. And I think that we don't want to return to his style of leadership. I think we need the new progressive leadership that we will get.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who are not? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lisa
I want to get back up there again.
Showed up and missed basketball games and other events, and we support them doing that. So we've done a really good job with the education and the environment committee, and I think we do an excellent job with this important. So I really hope you see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm April Martinez. I am Henry Martinez Jr.'s wife, and I just want to say thank you for letting us be here, and I hope you support him because he believes that the children are the future and that he wants to bring back recreational programs for the city of Burrola for the kids, so they're not on the streets, running around, getting into trouble. He ran the carnivals for the school. He supports the school very much because, like I said, kids are our future. And I just hope you help him out with this campaign, and that's all I got to say.
Good evening, everyone. I'm like scaring you hot. Good evening, everyone. Erin Martinez. I'm here to speak on no other than Kayla Jones and Mr. Wizard Beckett, who's amazing, and I don't even know when I'm really giving him the votes yet. I get him. You got him. I just like the momentum that Kayla brought to the council. She's young, she's progressive. She has done nothing but amazing things. I mean, even to be able to sit with her in our housing committee up at the Capitol, it's amazing. We need young, fresh people out there that are willing to make that commitment, but also keep the community engaged. So I just want to say that please consider Kayla Jones and Mr. John Wizard and Mr. Campbell that left. They're nothing but amazing, and to my Greenfield ladies, I wish you guys all the best. But please, Kayla, John, and Mr. Campbell.
Thank you.
Can you take one?
Yeah.
Actually, two more. I just
Please get in line.
My name is Susan Seelix, and I'm the campaign manager for Regina Mason. She filed her papers for Seaside City Council just a couple of weeks ago, so she hasn't been out everywhere. But she has done a myriad of projects and done so much good for the city of Seaside. She's born and raised there, and she has a co-founder of the Village Project. That's a major thing. And her most recent project this year, she started the Poor People's Campaign. There's 31 organizations within the area that are helping with that and hopefully get more people fed. And so those are just a couple of her accomplishments, but she has many, many more. And as a descendant of a her father was a military, and she knows the area well, and she cares deeply about how things are going to be going. So my hope is that you'll realize that she just filed recently, but please keep her in mind for your vote, because I think you're going to be happy with what the end result will be. Thank you very much.
Next.
I'll keep it under a minute. My name is Lisa Berkley. I'm an uncontested candidate along with Adam Gertrude from Marina City Council. And I just wanted to speak up on behalf and as an endorsement for John Wizard, who we've already been in conversations with regarding how we would potentially work with Flora, which is a big deal for Seaside and Burnett. Also, Ella Jones and Jason Campbell are pretty phenomenal as well. Thank you.
Can you be a little louder?
I was wondering, there are two candidates for Salinas Mayor here tonight, and I'd be really glad to support either one of them. I wonder if there's a way we could get to instant runoff or ranked choice voting, because I can see these two splitting the anti-Gunter vote and Gunter winning. Because if we can vote for one of these guys first and then second, then that would take a lot of votes away from Gunter. I would much rather have either one of these guys as our mayor than the one we have. So we can vote for who we want to win, and then the second choice, that would help people by the same.
Thank you.
So,
right. Any other members?
I just want to speak up for Regina Mason. I'm so glad that she could get in to run for the city council. I did talk to her last, week and a half ago, and confirmed with that. So I just want to say Regina is Seaside. She's been in Seaside all her life. We're 2 blocks down from each other, raised together. She's super awesome. She's a retired social worker, child protective service worker for the Monterey County, plus she is the supervisor for child protective service, intake supervisor for child protective service. She's done a lot of stuff in Seaside along with the founder of the Village Project. She's also been been a mom, and she's been a wife in the community to Mel Mason. I'm sure many of you all know who Mel Mason is, who has even ran for the president, but she's learned a lot from him being there, so have I. And I just want to say that your vote for her will not be a lost vote. She is Seaside. That's the people that we want in Seaside, helping Seaside to progress. And we know that one seat will not be there anymore. So one seat is available for her. I claim that seat for her now.
Okay. Thank you, Erin. Okay, any other members of the public? All right, then I'm going to close that part of the meeting, and we're going to move into the endorsement. And I wanted to do a couple things. So we talked about conflicts of interest. First of all, I want to thank the committee. We had a lot of, and we still have more of these to do. We're going to actually have to come up with a second meeting as soon as we can get as many of us together as possible. But thank you for all the work all of you are doing. It's very, very hard work. And then the second thing I wanted to say is we've got a lot of good Democrats. It's a good problem to have. And so I came to this meeting, I'm stressed. I mean, there's a lot of these votes where we know people that we like, and it's hard. And we know tonight some people are going to go away happy, other people are going to go away sad. But whatever happens, we're going to do it right, and we're going to support our endorsed candidates. So, and we're going to unite together. So I just wanted to say those two things. And then I'm going to turn it over to, actually also on the process. Let me just go over the voting process, and then we'll turn it over to David. So our rules require a 60% threshold. So we have to get 60%, or for one candidate or another, or there is no endorsement unless one of you decide to make a motion calling for a dual endorsement, okay? The process, the way it's set up in our policies, is the endorsement committee chair will let us know about the race, and then what they will let us know what they're recommending. At that time, I will ask if the committee has anyone else they would like to nominate. So you can nominate someone else who is not being recommended. And then we will vote on the person recommended first to see if they get 60%. And we'll go through for each person to see if they get 60%. All right, and also you can abstain, but I'm going to ask for abstentions before each vote. So if you abstain, then your vote will not be part of the number required to get 60%. Okay? So before I hand it over to David, I want to just check and make sure, is everyone clear on the process? Yeah. Yeah, so if you decide you're not really sure, really don't know maybe enough about the race, you're not confident in the recommendation or whatever, and you don't want to participate, vote either way, then I'll ask for abstentions and you'll raise your card to abstain. That means that the total number needed to get 60% is less for that particular vote.
We're asking for abstentions first, pulling them out, establishing what our number is for yes and no votes at the beginning of each vote.
Any other questions? Okay, then I'm going to hand it off to David.
Good evening, Democrats. The process that we're about to enter into is considered by many as sacred and a trust. We ask that you not overly promote a single candidate in the interest of time. Because of the amount of races involved, the endorsement committee has elected to first endorse candidates for mayor and city council only tonight. The remaining races will be endorsed in the next 10 days. I will start alphabetically with the list of cities and council races. I will give you the name of the race, the name of the person that the endorsement committee has recommended. And by our procedures, we will vote on that endorsed candidate first. We will then entertain a motion for additional candidates, and we will vote on that already. Let me say also that the endorsement committee, can I ask the endorsement committee to please stand to be recognized? In the past 7 days, our fellow Democrats has booked over 90 hours of time and interest in providing you with these candidates. It was not something we did frivolously.
And may I name people who are not in the room? Linda Bino, President of the Monterey Peninsula Democrats, is not in the room. David Kong, elected representative from District 3, is not in the room.
Thank you. You may sit down. So let's begin.
You're done, Scott.
Yeah. No, he's going to make a recommendation, and then I will call if there are other nominations, and then we'll close nominations. Yeah.
Should we establish the total number of votes in the room first?
Well, yeah, we could do that. So if you are a voting member, and hopefully you're here at the table, please hold up your card so we can get it counted. And do we have, let's see, we have somebody who's not here. We probably don't have anybody who's neutral. This is any problem.
Please hold it flush instead of sideways so we can see it. Multiple people count, please.
Somebody else counting, or is it just me? I got 31.
Where did that one go?
Okay, raise your cards again and hold them up, please. High, please. Hold them high, please. You could be blocked by your neighbor's hand. And Natalie.
32. I got 31. What do you got?
Okay, that's okay. One more time. Everybody hold up your cards.
I'm not even counting. The top who's counting? Ron, are you counting? All right, Ron and
And David, 33.
And David Kahn, who is getting his card. Somebody make sure David gets a card. Okay, so we have 33. Yeah, sir.
Can the nomination come from the non-voting members?
No.
No, it can't. It's got to come from a member.
Second question is, were the candidates invited for a particular interview or not?
So, David,
So the endorsement committee conducted in-person interviews with as many candidates as could be located. We started this process last Tuesday with the intent of finishing it Sunday evening. There were some candidates who were interviewed by phone, and there were some who were not able to arrange a meeting with. Okay? So, in the city of Carmel Mayor, the endorsement committee recommends Gene Hughes.
Okay. So Gene Hughes, do you want to tell us a little bit about the race?
So there are two Democrats running in this race. Hopefully you looked at the questionnaires. We sent you a link to which everyone could have access to the questionnaires. We sent 4 emails and as well as multiple reminders to invite all Democrats to participate in our process. To make sure there was no miscommunication, we also made phone calls and had conversations to make sure the words I repeatedly used were, we want to make sure this is a choice and not a miscommunication. So that being said, we received, by the deadline, we received 1 questionnaire from 1 Democrat of the 2 who are running in this race.
Okay, but did you want to tell us about Gene, or?
I wasn't one of his.
Is there somebody on the committee who did that?
Okay, so Gene is running for council for mayor in Carmel. His interests are sustainability. He's an engineer by trade. His interest is in sustainable growth in the very limited space that Carmel has in which to develop. He spoke to us about homelessness in Carmel, which is just a handful of people, like one individual he knows personally, who he's trying to be sheltered, but he doesn't want to. Transparency in the council. There have been some concerns that he has about transparency in their processes, and bringing people together, having more of a collaborative model for running things rather than a top-down authoritarian model. All of these things we believed were in keeping with the democratic values. There are more, but I trust that you read the questionnaire, so I'll be brief and just say that.
Okay, good. So are there any other nominations?
I nominate Dave Potter.
Okay, so.
Can I speak to that, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Most of you know Dave Potter. He was our supervisor in the 5th district for almost 16 years. He knows the county. He's lived in Carmel for years, and he knows the issues in Carmel and the county. He knows the water issues. My understanding is Mr. Hughes is a lovely man who registered to vote in this county in March of 2018. He has been a part, his Carmel residence was a second residence, and he's just moved there permanently. He has not been involved with this Dave on certain things. One of them is the racetrack. That Dave is by far the most qualified person for this job. And I would hope that we would endorse a qualified candidate.
Okay, so we're going to have discussion now. I'm going to ask you if other people have said what you want, maybe not to repeat it, because if we all speak for a minute, then we're never going to get done. So think about it. If there is something you think is important to be said about either of these candidates, I'm just going to go around from the left. Raise your hand, Erin.
Yep. My name is Herbert Cortez, and as a member of the Marina Coast Water and Coast District, board member, I would say that my vote is going to Gene. Mr. Potter has time and time again been an obstacle of sustainable water sources and public water. He's been in Flora, he's been in LAFCO, and he has continued to challenge public water. And for that reason alone, I send my support to Gene.
Okay, thank you. And again, 1 minute, although the briefer the better. Adam?
I agree with what Herbert said, but I think it's important we get rid of Steve Dallas that has a further sexual harasser, and Dave Potter can be in and know what the other person can.
Okay. Anybody else? Comment?
I have more of a procedural question.
Okay.
Approximately February, we passed a resolution that required us to verify that the candidate that we endorse confirms the Democratic Party's platform and specifically included that we know about their ability on their stand on direct issues. Do we have anything in writing in communication from Mr. Potter that leads us to believe that we meet those requirements?
So I believe he sent us late an application. Did you see that?
I do, I have it.
Oh, okay. Did he answer that question?
Yes, he did answer that question.
And
He said 1,000%.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
What I know about Bill Potter is he was the only one that I know about that supported the resolution 1289 on environmental justice, which is we see the balancing people with the care of the environment, and we spoke very openly about that subject.
Thank you. We're just looking around. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to know, besides the email concerning this candidate that is running the first one, Gene, I just wanted to know what has this type of job that has 20 years?
It's an engineer.
Engineer.
And he works abroad, a lot in San Francisco, has a couple of homes.
Okay, is there a reason why I didn't get an email?
It was in the meeting reminder for this meeting. There was a link that's to all the questionnaires.
I didn't get it, so anyway, okay.
You didn't get a meeting reminder to this meeting?
Okay, I don't want to get into this right now. Well, let's figure it out later, okay? Anything else on this race? Yeah?
Yeah, I would support any, I'm an advocate of public water now. I worked very hard for that organization. I would support anybody who sincerely and consistently supports public water.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm just kind of looking around. Yeah, Gary.
Well, I believe in the process. How many hours did she put into this? 90 hours?
90 hours.
And there are deadlines. And according to the policy procedure here, it says all deadlines will be rigorously enforced. So we have a name and nomination that Dave Potter did submit a questionnaire on time. He didn't show up for an interview. Where's he tonight? I think he hasn't qualified himself.
Thank you. I'll come back.
Sorry.
I feel that Dave Potter had ample opportunity to seek our endorsement, and in fact, it shows
one statement and on Pris, and then we'll go to the ball. So my feeling is I have a hard time supporting him primarily because last May, I think it was, he spoke to the Monterey Herald criticizing the Democratic Party, basically saying we shouldn't be endorsing in nonpartisan races. Now here he is asking for our endorsement in a nonpartisan race. So I don't have a hard time with that he was criticizing the party for doing exactly what we're doing, and I was asking for help. So that's where I'm at. Pris, and then Holly from the bubble.
And I just want to add that I respect Holly's opinion. I do differ from it. I think his record as supervisor of District 5, we're dealing with all bad decisions that he made, and his values have not been consistent with them. When I was asked basically would I support either Dave Potter or Steve Dallas, my response was, that's a terrible choice. Crook and Lord. And so I'm glad there's an alternative.
Okay, and then Holly on the bubble.
The person who didn't respond was his campaign manager. I would just like to say, if Dave is not endorsed, Mr. Hughes is not going to get and Steve Dallas physically has had sexual harassment leveled against him already within a year and a half of being in office. And Dave is qualified that way. He is every stance of his, but we're either going to have Steve Dallas or Dave. That's the reality.
Okay, so I'm going to close discussion at this point. And we have two names, Gene Hughes and Dave Potter. So remember, you can only vote once. You can't vote, for both of them, okay? So you decide which one you want, or if you want to abstain. How many, raise your hand if you want to abstain. You can only vote for one team. We will, but you have to, are you abstaining or not? If you're abstaining, raise your card. So I see 1, 2, all right, so 3, 4. All right, so there are 4 people abstaining, which means we should have 29 votes, okay?
And we're looking for 60%.
Yeah, what's that?
29, that's 17.4, so it needs 18 votes. Someone else check my math.
Don't you round to the nearest number?
No, you go up.
17?
No, it doesn't. It goes
Really?
up.
17.1 goes to 18?
Goes up.
Okay.
There are no quarter
All right.
people.
Okay, so then we need 18 of the 29. All right, so raise your card if you support Gene Hughes. And Juan and Cassian, if you would count first.
I see 19.
Okay.
That's one shy.
No, it's 18 is the number. Okay, raise your card if
60% of 33. 60.
29.
Oh, the abstentions, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's a real creative way to do things.
We went over that at the beginning. All right, raise your card if you endorse Dave Potter.
Hi, please.
Okay, so that is correct. All right, so
And let the minutes show the count, too.
Yeah, I am. What was the con?
19 and 10. All right, so Gene Hughes is endorsed. All right, next.
Moving on, Carmel City Council. There were 2 Democrats. I was on the interviewing committee for Jeff Barron. He is the endorsed candidate. B-A-R-O-N. Jeff is a...
Is there another Democrat in that race?
Yes, but they did not ask for our endorsement.
Jeff is a transplant. He's been in Carmel for a number of years. He's 45. He is really energetic, a very pleasant person. He got involved because he went to a number of city council meetings and was troubled by the procedures, the air, and it seemed the disdain for what the public wanted. He's a genuine Democrat from New York by way of South Carolina. And took it on his own because there are no addresses in Carmel. He took a local street map and laid it with a parcel map and is now marking all the addresses of where he's contacted in Carmel. So he's inventive and hardworking. So the endorsement committee recommended Jeff Barron.
Okay, are there any other endorsements in this Carmel race? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close endorsements. Any discussion? Seeing none, are there any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it high, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I see 10 abstentions, which means we have 23 and 60% of 23.
13.8, so 14.
Okay, so raise your card if you support the recommendation committee's endorsement for Jeff Barron. No, he was not here.
He was interviewed.
You do have his question here.
She was
Okay, raise your card if you do not endorse Jeff Barron. Okay, so 3 people, raise your card if you're voting no endorsement. I guess that is the third alternative.
You have to, if you're not abstaining, you have to vote.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 20 to 3. Next, Jeff Barron is endorsed. Next.
Okay, the next is the Delray Oaks mayor, and there's an asterisk. The candidate that we endorsed is Allison Kerr. She's a federal employee. And Chair, I'd like to ask an exemption to our procedure. As a federal employee, she cannot accept an endorsement, but I believe we can recommend her.
So I believe to do that, we would need to vote to suspend our rules, which require candidates to seek our endorsement. Is there a motion to suspend the rules in order to consider Allison?
So moved.
All right, so Adam is moving to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Sorry, Natalie? Yes.
I need to also include another candidate who's also a federal employee.
Okay, we'll handle that when we get to it. So all those in favor of suspending the rules so we can consider this candidate, even though they didn't see it. Yeah.
We do it by voice?
All right, that's by acclamation. Okay, so tell us about Allison.
Yes. Allison Kerr is a federal employee, and she's also a master gardener. She is out there walking for public water now. She is out there walking for sustainability causes. She has been active in commissions in Delray Oaks, and she believes in science, and she's running because the mayor denies science. She is in favor of Monterey Bay community power, unlike the incumbent who is seeking to go with pilot power, which will give the city $60,000 when they sign up with pilot power, and as part of their mixed power smart portfolio includes coal. Allison does not believe that that is wise. She believes that she's expressed that climate change is a serious issue and really wants to be part of moving Delray Oaks along. She's a woman, and she's progressive, and she's a registered Democrat, and she was the only other candidate in the race, and she cannot ask for our endorsement, and nor can we partner with her or talk with her about it.
Okay. So I'm just going to get look to my left. Anyone want to speak to Allison Kerr? Yeah, Erin.
Well, I think it's really important that we endorse Delray Oaks. Delray Oaks is a very small town that has an equal vote with some of the other, I'll call it major cities. They in regional bodies, and I think we want to be in Delray Oaks on the ground, which means we have to endorse a candidate or two. And so I'm recommending we endorse in this race. Just so, I mean, it's sort of a linchpin town. I mean, it's, for those folks, I don't want to make it sound like a strange place or anything, but, you know, it's very small, it's got an equal vote with Seaside, Marina, and Salinas, and many regional bodies. We can make a big difference if we can change the leadership there.
I'll just, yeah, Bill.
Just a comment, I live on Street Place, which is in Seaside. The street, it's a very short street, goes into Delray Oaks. And at the end of my street, where Delray Oaks again is Seaside, and there's a barrier. And there's a lot of, that barrier is symbolic of a lot of things that have happened over the years that have created a lot of racial tension since the 60s, since I've lived in this town. And I think the possibility can be laid at the feet of the leadership on the seat of the Delray Oaks City Council and mayor.
All right, so I'm going to close. What's that?
I was going to say, I don't see how we can not endorse somebody who believes climate change makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, point being, the main incumbent mayor is one of the most conservative Republicans in the county, and I don't think we've challenged him. So, all right, I'm going to close comments. Any other nominations? I can't remember if I asked that. Okay. Then any abstentions? 1, 2, 3. All right, then raise your card if you support the recommendation of the committee to endorse Allison Furr. All right, I don't really believe you. All right. So any opposed?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
29-1.
29-1. Okay, next.
Delray Oaks City Council. There is 2 candidates. One of them is a Democrat, John Gagliotti. I interviewed John along with Ron and Karen and there were 3 of us that interviewed John. John is what I would probably say is a middle of the road Democrat. He's not necessarily a progressive, but he talked passionately about Delray Oaks and the concern he has for the citizens there, for homeless people, for climate issues. He has been a lifelong Democrat. He did express some concerns that the Democrats were being swayed by what he considered the hard left. And we assured him that the Democratic Party represented him and his values very well. And so John is very enthusiastic about running in Delray Oaks. He plans to use his Democratic designation on his campaign material, which is saying a lot for Delray Oaks. So the Endorsement Committee recommends John Gagliotti for Delray Oaks council member.
Okay, are there any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close nominations. Is there any discussion? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's just using this as a platform to eventually run against a viable progressive Democrat for county supervisor. He's threatening to run against Jane Parker in 2016. And so, if you don't have to support this guy, and he's a squishy Democrat, I don't know that we need to do that and give this guy a platform to try to undercut a progressive Democrat county supervisor and maybe put a Republican or business chief voting Democrat into the 42 elections.
Any other discussion on this? Any rebuttal? All right. Seeing none, any abstentions? Raise your card, please, if you're abstaining. We gotta know how many. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 8. All right, so 33, 25. How many is that? 15. Okay, so raise your card if you want to endorse John Bailey and support the Endorsement Committee's recommendation. What did you get? All right, so again, let's try once more. Hold your cards high and you can get your card up. You got 13? Okay, so 13, what did they need? 15. Okay, so no endorsement. Yes.
I just want to point out the obvious, which is kind of serious, that makes the middle vote count 34.
No, because,
Alternate.
Just kidding, sorry.
Okay. So no endorsement in that race. Thank you. Next race.
The next race is the City of Gonzales mayor. There are 2 candidates. One of them is a Democrat. The Endorsement Committee recommends Maria Orozco.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Henry Martinez.
Henry Martinez.
Henry Martinez Jr.
Jr. Is that the right name?
We have incorrect information that he is a declined to no party preference.
It's all on my
Okay. So David and Patty, do you want to report on that?
Okay, while Adam is checking his registration status, could we hear from the committee about Maria?
We interviewed Maria Orozco, and she's really involved with the city of Gonzales. She's looking for housing for the people from farm workers. She's involved in the police department, the kids, seniors. She wants a place for older people.
Anything else from the committee? Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Did Henry Gonzalez not submit papers or?
He didn't submit.
He didn't submit. Okay. All right. Do we know registration?
I'm looking at it right now, just don't think about Maria Orozco, she's a leader in review.
But we'll please let me know. I need to know whether he's a registered Democrat.
The one that didn't submit is senior, not junior.
Okay. So I just know what the committee tells me. Committee, did you get a application from Henry Jr.?
We did get one late.
You got one late. Okay. All right. And do we know yet whether or not he is?
So, 33-year-old Henry, is that you? Are you 33 years old? 32? It says 33 in here, but it says the declined state. Is your middle name Barriga? Yeah. Yeah, 30 is the declined state.
Okay, so we have to go with this registration material. I'm not sure why you're registered as a declined state, but okay. So, are there any other nominations? At this time, we can only consider Maria Orozco unless there's some other Democrat in the race. Yeah.
Just to say something about Maria Orozco, I was very impressed last year when we had an event with Dolores Huerta. She brought several young people from a youth committee that they formed in Gonzales. That actually worked with an ordinance related to alcohol sales. So not only did she have young people involved in it, but involved in actual real life experience type stuff. And so I was very impressed by that.
Any other? I'll open discussion now. First one, and then we'll go to one first.
Thank you. I'm a resident of Gonzales.
My dad was born there in 1905, so we go back a long way. And Maria Orozco is a friend of mine. We get together once in a while and hang out and talk. Very little politics involved in the conversation because she's, sadly, when it came to the measure Z, for example, she went no on Z, and I was yes on Z. And for some whatever reason, she decided she's going to talk to me and even look at me anymore, right? So I understand. Immature politics. But what pisses me off, I say that once, is that we have a saloon running right through town. And that saloon has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they're starting to fill it up. And that saloon has a great potential to be lakes and ponds and creeks and a natural park and environmental center in the heart of the salad bowl of the world, which is Gonzales. In the last 7 years, we've had 5 companies moving to Gonzales. Marihuanos, the guys who plant marijuana, Taylor, and Dynamite, and Matt Baggy, and I think there's another. Anyway, 5. They've been sucking more water out of there at 24 hours a day to process their product that the farm workers pick than ever before in the history of Gonzales, and it's a small town. And they're pumping water 24 hours a day, and you got 5 companies pumping a heck of a lot of water, and we haven't had any water come down into our... So I'm against her. I wish I would have ran for mayor, but we had too many Martinez's running, so I decided to she don't belong there. And she don't belong there, believe me. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I can't hear.
For clarification, can we just tell the participant why he's not an option?
Yeah, so you're not registered as a Democrat in the voter database, and our bylaws only allow us to endorse registered Democrats. It could be you thought you were, maybe you were at one time, maybe you changed, but we have to go by what we have in voter database.
Thank you, Chair. That was it. I just saw the concerns, so I figured it wasn't.
Yeah, it's not personal
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah. So, I was mentioning Maria's been the mayor of Gonzales for a very long time, very well respected in the city. There's a few exceptions. But Maria is also a leader in her union. She's a member of SE Eagles, been working for the city of Salinas, and she's been a union member for as long as she's worked in the city, and she's been on there. I think Maria is elected in Gonzales. She's a strong Democrat, and I think she's supported.
Thank you. Any other comments on this topic?
I heard correctly, I'm not hearing very well. There was some criticism of this committee's endorsement of the Orozco. I'd like to hear what the committee says in response to this.
Okay. Karen Araujo.
I'm right here. I'm happy to say something. Is it, why are we recommending Maria Orozco? She is the incumbent, and as the endorsement committee and this body, our duty is to promote democratic values and get Democrats elected. If there is an incumbent and we don't want to re-elect that person, we better have a damn good reason. Why? Because that person can win. And we heard no substance during our process. We had no substantive criticism, or really any criticism, of Maria Orozco. I did hear some things uttered here today, and I trust my brothers and sisters that their experience is valid for them, but we did not hear that. And also I would like to say that in the fall, when the chair reminded everyone that we could only endorse Democrats and ask people to hold endorsements if they were a Democrat who publicly endorsed a non-Democrat in races where we were acting, the next day, Maria Orozco sent a message to a local Republican and said, pull my endorsement. I will not publicly endorse you. So she chose her allegiance to the Democratic Party, which that was just one of the many pieces, though.
Okay, any other discussion? I don't see any others. I'm going to close discussion. All right, abstentions. Raise your card. Aye. I'm not seeing back here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's see, 30,
10.
34.
Count again.
10. All right, so that means we have 23. 15, thank you. All right, please raise your card if you support the recommendation of the committee for Maria Orozco. And Ron and Caspian.
I'm sorry, what was the?
Maria Orozco.
Oh. I got 18.
I got 19.
In either case, it's affirmative. All right, so
That's
Maria
where those
Orozco is endorsed. Next.
The next race is Gonzalez City Council. The endorsement committee did not make a recommendation.
Okay. Were there any?
There is one Democrat, Henry Martinez Sr.
And did he submit a questionnaire?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know.
Okay, so you're not aware of getting one. Okay, so the recommendation is no endorsement. I'm going to open it up. Are there any endorsements from the floor or nominations from the floor? Okay, I'm going to close nominations. I'm not sure, since we don't have anybody nominated, I guess we don't need to vote.
Let's go.
Okay, so yeah, abstain. We're going to vote for no endorsement then. So raise your card if you're going to abstain. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold them up. Hold them up. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. Okay, so 33 minus 11, 22. What are we looking at? All right, so raise your card if you vote no endorsement. All right. No endorsement.
I'm not upset.
I got 24.
Okay. Okay, so no endorsement.
I didn't like make a thing. I feel.
Oh.
I'm thinking maybe drop it on to let the Republican win. Why?
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. All right, next.
Next field is Greenfield, City of Greenfield Mayor. There is 2 Democrats. The endorsement committee recommends Avelina Torres for Greenfield Mayor.
Okay, so there is a recommendation for Avelina Torres. Are there any other nominations from the floor? All right, I don't see any, so I'm closing nominations. Any comments? Seeing no comments. Any abstentions? 1. Only 1. Going twice. Hold on. 2, 3. All right, so 30. I don't know what the number is. Raise your card if you support the recommendation to support and endorse Avelina. No. All right. I don't know that we need to count. I think she has that. All right. Avelina Torres is endorsed. Thank you.
Next race, City of Greenfield City Council. There are 2 seats. The endorsement committee has endorsed Angelina Martinez Antoine and Irene Garcia.
All right, so the recommendation from the committee is Angelina Martinez Atlan and Irene Garcia. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
I'd like to nominate Jessica Madrid Bautista.
Jessica Madrid Bautista is nominated. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Seeing none, I'm closing the nominations. Would the committee share with us their thinking in recommending Angela and Irene?
Okay. I was able to interview all 3 of the candidates, and I wrote down a little substance of all 3 of them. So I'm just going to read it, and then I'm going to just tell you why we decided to choose 2 of the 3. 2 out of the 3. So the first candidate was Jessica Madrid, and she said that Greenfield is a negative environment, and she wants positive energy there. She believes in balance, economic growth. She wants to see more kids, more programs for kids, ballet, arts. She wants to make permits easier to follow cities giving opportunities to concessions to certain businesses. I see the two sides open. I think she's saying that she's open-minded, she can see both sides. Looking toward the future, youth coach. I'm sorry, she wants a youth counselor there. She's encouraged by many people running for office. She has volunteered in the community, graduated the community police academy. Erin Garcia, continue to work with the city and economic growth, continue new shopping center, of course, for more affordable housing, need more low-income housing, build a new courthouse. She advocates King Center. She currently serves on the Parks and Recreation Committee. She wants to get middle school kids to Patriot Park to be involved in after the program. Kids, keep kids out of gangs, first time wedding. There's a group trying to turn back the clock there. That's why she's running for office. Passion for Greenfield. She wants to expand health care services and senior services. Angela Altalon, she's interested in school safety. Son was run over while crossing the school. She wants more traffic dogs, flashing stop signs. That's why she's running. So this will not happen. Others, youth safety, more youth programs. So I'd like to see more development in Greenfield. I'm getting into the other candidates. Okay. Boys and Girls Club, Greenfield, she's interested in doing that. We need more affordable housing. She's involved with school and weekend sports, coaching young teams, rent control should be looked at. She's a lifelong resident of Greenfield, parents live there, and she has a tough job. One business to be able to hire first-time workers.
Okay.
So we decided to go with, actually, I think all three of them had very good interviews, and it was actually a tough decision to decide which two. Unfortunately, there's other people running as council, so we didn't want to just say, let's choose all three. I think Angela actually she told me a very moving story about her son and being run over by, from across the school. She was trying to do things, she's trying to work with the police, and I guess that's why she's doing, because she had problems with the government there. And then, okay. And then Angela is, and then Angela has been quite a few commissions and things.
Okay, so opportunity, I guess I'll give you a chance to speak in behalf of Jessica.
Yeah, I think, my family's from Greenfield. I have a lot of family in South County, and having watched South County politics, I can tell you, there's, a desperate need for independent leaders, independent voices to stand up for the community at large. And I've heard a lot of great things about Jessica. I'm interested in independent leaders, and that's the support here.
Okay, so just look around here, go ahead.
So I just want to say I agree with the nomination for Angela Altalon, so I support that. But I do want to submit Jessica's name. I think Greenfield does need that, particularly and go-getters. And based on her presentation and everything, she's fundraising. As you all know, fundraising is kind of like one of those things that you just have to really go after. And if she doesn't do that, and she raise that much money, imagine what she's going to do. So I vote for Jessica.
Okay. Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
I happened to have the pleasure of working with two of them, and very supportive of environmental concerns down in Greenfield, which is why we were there with the Measure Z and also with Monterey Community Power, and very outspoken, showed up at all city council meetings, got their neighbors and their friends and kids, and helped back the city councils, and very supportive as well. I'm the city council for Medina, and she's the one running for mayor. So I support the recommendation of the committee.
Yeah, Dominic.
Just a quick comment. I'd like to point out that, when we talk about South County, quickly we see the shortcoming of a lot of people at this table have no idea what's going on in South County. If we're going to sit and be a county central committee, then we have to go out and see what's going on, because we should not have.
So Dominic, I'm going to ask you to be on point. What do you have to say about the three candidates?
I'm supporting Ms. Bautista, but I find it a little unnerving that most of us know almost nothing about oppose these candidates because we never go there.
Okay, so you're supporting Ms. Bautista and who else? That's it. Okay, thank you.
What I want to say is what I say all the time. If you're supporting these candidates, it's good that we have a committee that interviews them, but they should make time, they can make time to be here, but this is such an important event for us to know who they are. Because I don't have time, I run all over the county already, I'm a county commissioner. I don't have time to be going everywhere.
And Levon, these three candidates were here. They spoke earlier.
Okay, so they were here?
Yeah.
I should have said that, so I didn't know that, because
Okay, so any other comments on Angela, Irene, or Jessica for why you support them or why you? I don't see any others. All right. So, okay, so yeah, why don't you just say your name again?
My name is Jessica Madrid Batista, and I did submit an application in timely manner. I met with Mr. Wong. Or Kong, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Jessica, I'm sorry, it's not the time for a speech.
Oh,
Just your name.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Angela Martinez Osvalon. Irene Garcia.
Okay, and so we heard them earlier, so hopefully that helps. Okay, thank you.
I want to thank all the people from Brookfield that came and.
Thank you for
Staying.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, so first of all, any abstentions on this race? Raise your card. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 6, so 27. All right, so I'm gonna take the names in the order of the committee's recommendation. So first, so you're gonna be able to vote for 2 of these 3. First, raise your card if you support the committee's recommendation for Angela Martinez Montoya.
I get 26.
Okay. So Angela is endorsed. All right. Raise your card if you support the committee's recommendation for Irene Garcia. Okay, and how many do we need? 17. Okay, so Irene is not endorsed at this time. Raise your card if you support endorsing Jessica Madrid Bautista.
And you can only vote twice.
Yeah.
We're up at 16.
And what do we need?
17.
Okay. So in this race, we are endorsing Angela Martinez Montalon, and that's it. My understanding. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to propose this because I have a commitment to support the Endorsement Committee's recommendation since I was on the Endorsement Committee. But in the past, where we had 3 Democrats and 2 seats, where we had other parties running, what we did is say, everybody vote for this person, where we had unanimous consent. Everybody vote for this one candidate, and for the second seat, vote for either this or that person. And it can make a difference where there are Republicans and no party preference running, and we have done that in the past. I will not make that motion because I support what was presented by the Endorsement Committee.
And Holly, is that what you're going to say, or?
No, I was just
Okay.
counting numbers, and actually we have more voted than there should have been, and that's okay.
Yeah. All right, so is there a motion to dual endorse for the other seat? So what we would be doing is endorsing Angela for sure, or I guess.
Yeah, everybody vote for Angela.
And everybody vote for Angela, or Irene or Jessica.
So one seat would be, everybody vote for Angela. Angela would be in that big type. The second seat would say either of these two people would be fine.
Is there a motion to that effect or not?
For the second
I
seat.
would move that we do that.
Okay, so the motion is that we dual endorse for the second seat by Elena and Levon seconds it. I'm sorry, unless you're on the committee, you can't speak in this process. All right, any comments from the committee? All right, then any abstentions on this vote? I don't see any abstentions. One, okay. Then raise your card if you support dual endorsing for the second seat. All right, I'm going to say by acclamation that we have done that. All right, so Irene and Jessica, you are duly endorsed for the second seat, okay? All right, moving on to the next race.
City of King, or King City. The council, city council, there are no Democrats running, there is no endorsement. Moving on, City of Marina, there are no Democrats, there is no endorsement. For mayor, sorry. For City of Marina City Council, Adam Garcia and Lisa Berkley. They are both endorsed by your endorsement committee.
Okay, any other nominations?
Sorry, can you repeat the second name?
Adam Garcia and Lisa Berkley.
Right here. Lisa Berkley, Adam Garcia.
All right. So I'm going to close nominations. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, any abstentions? I see one. All right, all in favor of endorsing both Adam and Lisa Berkley? All right, by acclamation, unanimous acclamation, both of them are endorsed.
Adam brought the beer.
Next,
The endorsement committee recommends Clyde Robertson for mayor, City of Monterey.
okay, any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close nominations. Any discussion? He was not here. All right, abstentions, raise your card.
The number count went down.
6. Okay, raise your card then if you support the recommendation of the committee for Clyde Robertson.
Maybe I need a beer now. Maybe I should wait until the Seaside election.
Are you voting on this one, or did you abstain, David? You abstain?
3. I got her.
Okay. Any opposition? Any no's? 1. Okay, so Clyde Robertson is endorsed for mayor of Monterey. Next race.
You missed.
City of Monterey City Council. Mr. Chair, I ask for suspension of our procedure for the recommendation of Tyler Williamson, who is a federal employee. And we also endorse for City Council Timothy Barrett.
Okay, so is there a motion to suspend the rules in order from Adam and seconded from Anthony? By acclamation, yes. Do you support suspending the rules? Yes. Any nays? Okay, so for this race, we're suspending the rules so we can consider Tyler Williamson. Okay, so the recommendation from the committee is Timothy Barrett and Tyler Williamson. Any discussion? Yeah.
I would move the substitute motion of sole endorsement of Tyler Williamson.
I second that.
Third.
Okay, so I don't think you have to make a basic.
There are 2 seats and 2 people.
There are 2 seats, so we will vote on them both separately. Okay. Yeah.
Talk about Tyler.
Yeah, you can talk.
So my name is Esther. I founded a group called Monterey Peninsula Renters United, and I've been working with Tyler for the last couple of months. He's been very active in joining me in meetings with Assemblyman Mark Stone, Jimmy Panetta, Senator Lonning, strongly based on his stand on affordable housing and transparency in the council, which there have been a lot of questions about in Monterey for those of you that are not following it. I do have some strong reservations about the other potential endorsed candidate, because when specifically asked what he's done since he's an incumbent, he really did not have answers that were specific. And he recently announced some fund that's a nonprofit that has no funds in it as kind of publicity stuff. So I endorse, I as the rep for Monterey Peninsula Renters United strongly endorse Tyler Williamson because of the hatch act, so I'm totally behind.
Okay, any other discussion of either candidate?
I hate to speak ill of people, but every interaction I've had with Timothy Barrett has been advice with negative. He's shady. I just think he's shady. He takes money from people he shouldn't take money from, like on the wards and things like that. He's just shady. I don't think he represents democratic values. He pretends to, shows up in photos, but he doesn't represent democratic values. I don't know.
Any other discussions? A lot of hands. Holly.
I just want to add what Natalie said. I live in Monterey, and the ward is a huge issue. We're trying to bring the ward up to the fair market value. And to the
Adam, I'm going to keep moving around this way, sorry.
So I just pulled up Timothy's email to this committee when he rage quit this committee back in February of 2017. And what I recall was he chastised us for not diving headlong into the issues in Monterey that he thought were most important, and that was essentially the only reason he had for sending this gigantic tome to all of us, detailing our shortcomings as a committee. So I would be interested in supporting him. And if anybody hasn't seen this, send me your email and let it forward to you. But yeah, I think it's there's a evidence.
Okay.
All you know is one of the counties that kind of want the council to there because it was a veteran living in some of the housing on the outside. You wouldn't be able to tell what shape the housing was in, but if you went inside, and this was an older gentleman, this was a veteran, he used to work with the state, and the bathroom, they didn't fix the bathroom, they had cracked windows, everyday people were taking advantage of this man, and then going to his house and taking his identification. Right now, I don't even know who he is. So, and I was really shocked that that was the city of Monterey, because we thinking Monterey's not on the money and stuff, but that's the way it is there. There's some bad things going on.
Looking around, Lena.
Well, I'd like to speak on behalf of Tyler Williamson. I only have positive things to say about him. I first met him when we were both running to be delegates for Barack Obama in 2012. And although he didn't win, I didn't actually beat him because the women run separately, but I did beat him. And, but he didn't let that stop him. He went on to organize so well in our county that he was tucked away to run the voter outreach in San Francisco. And then when after the most recent election and the fiasco there, Tyler and Gary and I started an indivisible group, and it's kind of teetering right now, and I attribute that to our missing out on having Tyler involved, but he's doing his job, which is to get elected to the Monterey City Council, and as a long-time 37-year resident of Monterey, I'm excited to finally see a little bit of diversity on that city council. We would be electing an African American, we would be electing a young man, and we would be electing a man who's part of the LGBTQ group. And so I really encourage everybody to support that.
Okay.
Tyler?
Anthony,
I support Tyler. I know he's got flaws, I just don't know what they are.
not say too many things about it. He's just delights to be around. You know, he has a very collaborative mindset. He is not afraid to take stands that, you know, are independent and you know, go with special interest groups. And Monterey really is a great place to have Alan Hoppa and Tyler.
Anything else?
I would love to insult Tyler in his squad, but he's not here, so I'll insult him later. I'll explain Tyler solely because while there are two people being recommended, there are multiple names on this ballot. And vote solidity is something to consider, so sole endorsement certainly has much more weight from this debate. You know, Tyler, as wonderful as he is, going up against a lot of challenges. There are not many young African-American LGBT males, like, certainly not Monterey. So that's why I'll be voting for him.
All right, and then the committee, somebody,
Sure.
David or?
So I'm speaking on behalf of the committee. You assigned us a job. You have some wisdom that's uttered here. That'll be considered. What our thinking was is there are 2 seats. There are 2 seats and there are 2 Democrats running. Again, with an incumbent has name recognition, winnability. Our job is to win those seats, unless there is a major reason to not re-elect an incumbent. But some people here do have reasons, they uttered them. The committee did not find any major reason to not endorse Timothy. Tyler, I hope you will all vote for him for all the reasons that were uttered here. Thumbs up, great. But with Timothy, raging emails aside, he is on the right side of our values. He shares the party platform and has voted the party platform in many, many cases. And he can be elected. There's a Republican incumbent running, and there's a no party preference with no elected experience running. The committee recommends that you endorse Timothy Barrett and Tyler Williamson both.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to close comments and ask for abstentions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, who made it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Yeah, 5. Okay, well, okay. So let's do it again. We're gonna abstentions for Tyler. Raise your card.
Abstention for Tyler.
We're gonna do Tyler first. So I see Levon, no Levon. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so 29. All right, all those in favor of endorsing Tyler Williamson, raise your card.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Maybe there's one.
I'm here, I'm his alternate.
Mr. Chair, point of clarification.
Yes, sir.
The vote was to recommend not to endorse because of his federal status. So we made a motion and passed it to suspend our procedure, and we are voting to recommend Tyler.
Yeah. Suspended. Okay, so were there any no's? I don't see any. Okay, so that was unanimous. All right, now we're going to vote on Timothy. Raise your card if you are abstaining from this vote. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so 25, 14,
15.
Okay, so raise your cards for a yes to endorse Timothy Barrett.
To accept the endorsement
To
committee's
accept the
recommendation.
endorsement committee's recommendation to endorse Timothy Barrett. Okay, and no votes. Okay, so the committee, so we are recommending Tyler Williamson for Monterey City Council. Thank you. Next race.
City of Pacific Grove, there are 2 Democrats running, Bill Peak and Dion Ibarra. The Endorsement Committee recommends Bill Peak for Pacific Grove Mayor.
What was the name? What was your thinking?
I was on the interview with Dion. She's a wonderful person. She's got a lot of energy, a lot of good ideas. I think she would probably be well suited for Pacific Grove City Council. I'm not sure that she would, going into the administrative issues that a mayor needs to know about, but I would highly endorse or highly recommend you get to know her and bring her in, and whatever leadership we can afford her, I think she'd be a good, powerful force on the Monterey Peninsula.
Okay, so the nomination from the committee is, a recommendation is Bill Peak. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
And I'd like to say something positive about Bill. Bill is also running against a Republican, Reed Fisher, who is seated on the council right now. The mayor is not running again. Bill Peak is on there now. So again, it's electability, familiarity with the workings of the council and following the Democratic Party platform. We all love Dion. Dion was fabulous. But Peak can win it.
Any other nominations?
I would nominate Dion Ibarra.
Okay, so Dion Ibarra is also nominated. Any other nominations? All right, nominations closed. Discussion? Adam?
Pacific Grove is just a complete wreck. They're going to go bankrupt in 5 years, and it's the people who are on the city council and the people who came before them who are responsible for it. So I think it's time for somebody from the outside to come in and shake things up in the city. I wasn't part of the interview panel, but all I know is Pacific Grove has been putting screws to all their public work employees, firefighters, cops, librarians. If you look at their unfunded pension obligation, it's just through the roof. I mean, it's been mismanaged like you can't believe. It's like, it's not like Bell, California, but it's like, it's pretty bad.
We asked everybody about it.
Okay. Natalie?
I live in PG. I'm torn because our biggest issue is STRs. And I'm concerned that she didn't take a position on STRs. I think that's kind of limping.
For people who don't know what that is.
Short-term rentals, they're destroying our community. Please don't go to Airbnb, they destroy the community. But it's destroying our community, and it troubles me that she did not take a position on it. And Bill Peak, as far as I have heard, he is against STRs. Like he's for Measure M, he's voting for Measure M. Is that
He's supporting the measure.
Yeah, and it concerns me because that's the measure in right now, and the fact that she doesn't support it. I mean, I'd love to vote for a woman, and we have enough old white women in DG.
Yeah, straight up.
I can't hear.
You know what's really funny? What's really funny is, you know, if somebody disrespects someone, you know, you usually hear about it. But if you can sit there and say something like that, let's respect everybody in this room. Let's start treating everyone like a human being, okay?
So, Ron, let's all focus on the 2 candidates.
I would make the point that we are not diverse at all in DG, and so I would really like to vote for a woman. I'm really torn, I really am, because I really would like to come out first.
Okay, so anyone else? Tyler?
So I support Dion because I'm working with a whole bunch of candidates that have formed a regional housing coalition, and she's one of those members. I think housing is the most important issue that we have in our region, and the fact that she's stepping up and taking the lead on that. I'm not actually sure as far as where she stands on the STR thing, but we've committed to each other that we're going to work with each other on moving forward on housing policy together. So I wholeheartedly support Dion.
Yeah. I do want to mention that, once again, I'm part of the Vehicle Water Support. And every time we have a regional issue about water, we have groups like the Mayor's Group, Pacific Road, or Forum. And those are peninsula-oriented cities that want privatization and want Carolina. And they're opposed to public water. And so for me, as a member of this board who wants more public water and sustainable water options for the region, it's hard for me to vote for anyone that continues that sort of mindset of having privatized water. And so I don't know much about this candidate, Dion, but I do know that we have to change from that mindset because private water is the most expensive in the peninsula, and it will continue to be the most expensive in the peninsula unless we get new people in the country. So I vote for Martin.
Okay. Any other discussion? Close. Okay, discussion closed. All right. So first we will vote on the recommendation of the committee, which is for Bill Peak. Anyone wanting to abstain? No, well, I thought the committee did. I mean, I would say something nice. So I read both candidates' applications, and I have to say his is much more focused and substantive. And he talks about an inclusionary housing ordinance, which PG is a city that does not have an inclusionary housing ordinance, which means they put up some big thing and there's no affordable housing that's required. So I thought that was good. And he's against short-term rentals. And just in general, much more thoughtful and substantive. So I'm going to support, even though I agree with everything that was said about Dion, I think this office, she would have been better suited to run for city council. So that's how I feel. All right, any other comments? Since I commented, I'll let somebody else comment. Lavon.
Pacific Road. Housing problems in Pacific Road. There's people living in slum apartments in Pacific Road over by McDonald's. And it's a mess. So whoever's responsible for it shouldn't be along.
There are people living in RVs all over the city. Okay, anything about the two candidates? All right, then we're done. If you want to abstain from the vote, the recommendation from the committee for Bill Peak, raise your card. Abstentions, Gary. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so 33 minus 7 is 26. What do we need for that?
I thought you had 32.
12 and 42, so 12 is 4. We need 17.
Okay. All right, raise your card if you support the
I have
recommendation.
15. I have 16.
26.
26 times 0.6
Yeah.
is point.
Yeah, 16.
16. Says my flip phone.
Okay, so raise your card if you support the recommendation for Bill Peak, PG, Mayor.
The Endorsement Committee's recommendation.
Okay, so 12 does not make it. All right, raise your card if you're abstaining from the next vote for Dion Ibarra. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 33 minus 4 is 29. 29.
Chair?
Yes.
At this point, that's only, are you going to do a no vote is what I'm asking. I think we should have a no vote. People are abstaining and people are not voting.
Okay, I'm sorry, there's sidebar conversations, please. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, we'll have a no vote. Okay, there are too many sidebar conversations I cannot hear. Yes.
No vote on him first, or, oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, scratch that, I figured it out.
Okay.
It's like either or vote. Either or vote.
You're supposed to only vote for one. You're not supposed to be voting for two.
Right.
Okay, you're not supposed to vote a yes for both of them. Okay, so, we got 29, what's the,
18.
all right, need 18, raise your cards if you endorse Dion Ibarra.
I had 16.
Great.
Okay, so at this time, there is a no endorsement. Is there a motion to dual endorse?
16 doesn't work?
Okay, so. About 29. All right. Okay, Lisa Berkley, seconded by Tyler Williamson. Motion by Lisa Berkley, seconded by Tyler Williamson, to dual endorse. Any discussion? Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3.
No, I won't abstain.
1, 2. All right. Gary, are you abstaining? 3. So out of 30, well, raise your card if you are yes to dual endorse. It looks to me like we can say yes. All right. So yes to dual endorse for Bill Peak and Dion Ibarra. Next race.
City of Pacific Grove City Council. Your endorsement committee has recommended Jenny McAdams and Joe Emilio.
Joe Emilio. Jenny McAdams. Okay, are there any other nominations from the floor? I don't see any, so I'm going to close nominations. Any discussion? Yes.
I'd like to speak on behalf of Jenny McAdams. She's very involved in Pacific Grove. She's worked a lot on the short-term rental. She is active in the schools. Not that it matters, but her mother was mayor. But she really knows the city council. She knows the government. She knows the issues of Pacific Grove. I've talked to her a lot. I'm really impressed by her. She's a great job.
Any other discussion?
Can somebody mention something about earlier?
Yeah. Maybe? Something on both hands?
So the question was about Joe. He is, it's his first foray into council. He comes from a family of service. He's served for years on all different kinds of nonprofit boards and city commissions and things. He is married to the daughter of Dan Albert, the longtime mayor of Monterey, and so therefore brother-in-law to Dan Albert, who's on the council in Monterey. He is a more conservative Democrat. We didn't just only look at totally progressive Democrats. He is a more moderate Democrat. And he's new, but he's committed to community-wide solutions and also bridging, working with the business community and the green groups.
Okay,
Yeah, I know Joe Emilio. He was a law enforcement officer, he was a school administrator, he served on a lot of boards. He is a little bit more conservative, but you know what? He's open-minded. He's willing to listen to a lot of people, whereas other conservative Dems are more like, I don't want to hear where I can stand on issues. So, you know, I don't agree with everything policy-wise, but he's someone who's willing to listen to you, and I appreciate that.
You already spoke.
I just have a question.
Okay.
Do you know how Wisconsin has 2 hours?
No, I haven't.
I can look at my notes on that.
That's seriously
Yes.
Karen, wasn't in Pacific Grove, weren't there 3 seats available and 2 Dems are running?
That is correct. Tama Oliver had initially indicated interest and then declined to apply. So there's 3 Dems running, 2 who asked for our recommendation.
So I think I'm going to close discussion here in the interest of time and ask for any abstentions in this race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And we're going to vote for both.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay, so the recommendation is to endorse both. We'll take Jenny first. All those in favor of Jenny McAdams, raise your card. Okay, I think I'm going to call that consensus. Yes. Any abstentions for Joe Emilio?
I'm sorry, I don't have an answer to your question.
1, 2, I see the 2. Okay, all those in favor of Joe Emilio? All right, I'm going to call that consensus. Okay, so we've endorsed both Jenny McAdams and Joe Emilio in PG City Council. Next race.
City of Salinas Mayor.
Okay.
The Endorsement Committee endorses Amit Kandil for Mayor of the City of Salinas.
Okay, you want to say anything about the two candidates?
So we interviewed both Amit and Wes.
Yeah.
Speaking to Wes, I mean, you guys know both candidates very well. Wes talked about bringing a better system of best practices to the city, of holding electeds accountable, and more importantly, accountable to the community. About being somebody who respects not just the people who show up every day to go to council meetings, but all people, regardless of whether they have a home or not, whatever job they may have. He was very much talking about making that part of his platform. Amit talked a lot about, as you heard today, measuring some of the funds that he believed would not be wisely. Talked about credit law being passed and then cashed out and used too quickly. And so between the two, that was where we were at.
Okay, any other nominations from the floor?
Simply out of respect for the fact that Wes has done so much for this party and has been quite active, I would nominate him and that the commission side with you.
Okay. Okay, so, discussion. Yes, Laura.
I know, and I know you guys really very hard but let's just say about respect and peacefulness and all the things that need to be fixed in the city of Salinas. I'm all for that. I'm also all for what. So, there we go.
Yes, please.
One of the things was that we had Ahmed and West from the center. Ahmed has more knowledge about what's the process of permit here in Salinas, because a lot of businesses have a hard time, especially here in Salinas and other cities, that we are losing a lot of businesses. Some of the businesses are closing, and we have more of a clue of what was going on with the permits than West.
Any other? Yes.
I just want to say the state of California requires, because we have all the basins, the water basins require a groundwater sustainability plan. And Salinas Valley created one with mostly farmers. And Joe Gunter was supporting that. Korean Coast is another one for public waters. And we were able to work things out with both Salinas. But Monterey County, because of Joe Gunter, pushed the lines of boundaries. And now we have competing bids for the basin. Our role is to have public water. Salinas Valley Basin is to make sure the farmers get their water. So we need someone that is going to support public water. The mayor of Salinas not only affects Salinas, but it affects the whole region when it comes to water. So I support Amit because I think he's going to see a bigger picture than Joe Gunter and the farmers.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yes.
I know one of these guys pretty good, and if I could vote for both of them, I'd probably break the law. Probably break the law. But one, we have a businessman who I respect a lot, because when he ran last time, gave a great presentation on the needs of our community and stuff like that. Great heart for that. I've had the pleasure of knowing West with some very difficult times on the progressive side of politics because of his aggressive nature and not afraid to stand up and be critical when it has to be. You know, so West has provided our community with so much education on issues that affect all of us, whether we're interested in those issues or not. you know, he's reaching out quite a bit, and he merits that respect and that consideration. I am not one person that would suggest dual endorsement, because I was caught up in one of those one time and I didn't like it. Thanks to all you folks. But I do respect the fact that you have a process and you're like a group here has got to stick together, so I'll go with whatever you guys decide. I just need to voice my opinion. I respect both these guys tremendously. I know they're going to tear at the mayor, and that's what we need, is the facts coming out, not a bunch of niceties about how great things could be, because we know how things could be and should be around here. But, you know, somebody's got to face up to this guy, and with the work that we did with Measure Z and then with Monterey Community Power, we had the mayor call my boss and want to fire me, right? Because he says I lecture at the city council, but that's what we're there for, right? So and share with our concerns, right? About water, about the environment, and he goes and calls my boss. So that's how I feel about that guy.
Okay. Any other? Yes, James.
One thing I want to mention, and it's not necessarily a slam on him totally, but in the last election, he referred to social media as fluff, and I think that had something to do with you not making it. So if either one of you gets the nomination, I hope that you'll consider social media a lot more than you did in the last election. Yeah, I remember you said Bernie Sanders didn't get elected. Well, you wouldn't have heard of Bernie Sanders without social media.
Sure.
Okay, any other discussion? I'm going to just say this is really a difficult one for me because I like both these men. They're both good and they've both done a lot. I'm going to support the recommendation of the committee though.
It was hard for us to.
Okay, seeing no other discussion, are there any abstentions? I'm guessing we'll have 1, 2, 3. All right, 3. So we got 30.
Are we voting in two separate times?
You're voting for the recommendation, aren't you?
You should have abstained for both.
Okay.
Ellen?
So you're abstaining?
No. I'd like to know whether you make a recommendation for dual endorsement.
So for a dual endorsement to happen, first we have to go through this process, and if neither of them get 60%, then you can make that motion. So you could vote no, you could vote no on both if you wanted to. That's where you're at. Okay? All right. Any other discussion? No. All right. We got 30. What's 60%?
18. Oh, wait a minute. I got something to say.
Yes.
Yesterday, I saw this man laying in the middle of the sidewalk on a blanket. And I knew, and I said, look at that. And he went over to it. And that he was waiting on a bus, he said. And then he said, do you have food? I'm hungry. And we went home and got bad food and brought it back to him. And he said that he was trying to make it over to Chinatown or whatever so that he could get some housing. Because usually if a person not hungry, they don't want no food, they want you to give them some money. And so he was really very sincere. And I know that Wes, as well as this report about that, have worked diligently on this bad, nasty situation here in Salinas, even though we have it all over the county, but it's even worse in Salinas. Yeah. And we're not going to court with them, especially with Wes and some of the people getting tickets just because they don't have a place to sleep and have all their things taken away. So well, I just wanted to say that because that is a real issue.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Okay, so we need 18. All those who support the recommendation of the committee for Ahmed Tanya, raise your hand.
17. Hold on. Oh, wait a second. 20. Okay. So Ahmed Tanya is endorsed.
Raise your card. Remember, you can't vote for both if you endorse West White. Okay.
You need to vote for one or the other.
You need to vote for one or the other. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So Amit Pandya is endorsed for Salinas mayor. Next race.
City of Salinas, City Council, District 2, no recommendation.
We had no one
City of
apply.
Salinas, City Council, District 3, the nomination committee recommended Nona Childress.
Okay.
Really quickly, I thought we were going to talk about remember the candidate for 2.
Yeah, you can talk about whether we can do it later, yeah.
Okay. But just to go to 3 then, we can go back to 2. So Nona Childress is running for District 3 City Council of the City of Shane. She has held office before in the East Coast where she grew up. It was kind of a smaller district. Somehow their town was broken up into township. I don't even understand those. But she was elected twice there. She is a scientist. And we're talking about some of the issues she spoke about, such as affordable housing. She was a big proponent of using fact-based evidence to talk about the issue because she understood how emotional it can get at times. And so she was very much interested in hearing or seeing studies related to housing when discussing these issues on the south side. She also talked about infrastructure and how roads need to be repaired as well. And being a lot more transparent. She even talked about perhaps having people speak how they would want her to vote in publishing. So she very much was open to being a more transparent level.
Okay, so we've got a nomination for Nona Childress. Any other nominations from the floor for District 3? Seeing none, any other discussion? So I will just share, I did get a message from Juan Oranga, who he can't be here tonight. His concern is whether she's ready for this race and whether she can be a competitive candidate. So I just wanted to share that. Any other discussion? Okay, any abstentions? Let's see, 1, 2. Levon, you're abstaining? Okay, 3, 4. All right, so 29. Is that 8?
I think there were 5. Linda,
18.
Tyler, Gary,
Oh, I
Mary
didn't see
Lou,
Gary.
Mary
Okay.
Lou, and
And Esther is 6. So that means 27. So,
and she's the only Democrat.
she's the only Democrat in the race, yes. Okay, so 17.
Okay.
All right, so raise your card if you support the committee's recommendation of Nona Childress. Looks to me like it's, I think that's acclamation. Okay, Nona Childress is endorsed. Next, you want to, is there another race?
So what happened with District 2 is there's only one Democrat running, the incumbent Tony Burrola. Unfortunately, there was a mix-up because as he was prepping for the last council meeting on Tuesday, he was also preparing to be out of town in Mexico on vacation. So by the time he had heard about this, he was already in Mexico. And so that is where the mix-up came with not having the paperwork in or even being able to do an interview because he's simply out of the country.
Okay, so again, our rules require us to have a nomination, but we can suspend our rules for this if there is a nomination to do so. Okay, so we need to vote to suspend the rules to consider it.
Move to suspend the rules.
Okay, Dominic moves, Adam seconds. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay, so nominations.
I nominate Tony Burrola as the voice in District 2.
Okay, any discussion? Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, raise your card if you support Tony Barrera for City Council Hold on. I think that looks like consensus. Yes? All right, Tony Barrera is endorsed in District 2. Are there any other districts? Okay.
City of Salinas, City Council, District 5. Your endorsement committee has endorsed Jose Sandoval.
Jose, and it goes by Anderson. This race is wide open. Government chose not to run. Andrew is a small business owner. He owns, and you would never guess it by looking at him. He's a bridal shop. But he's a long-time Salinas resident. He grew up, helping his parents at the Wilgon Sanborn before it was turned into a school. Again, like luckily all our candidates, he was talking about the need not only for affordable housing and making sure that when housing goes up, it's inclusionary, because there is going to be a lot of housing coming to his district in District 5. He talked about stimulating small business and about having better communication with the city and the businesses about what he's done. We talked about permit issues coming up too, so you want to make sure it's good communication. He also talked about things like building a better sense of community. He likes seeing those events that happen in the community that brings elected officials, community members together, because he believes it makes a better, safer public neighborhood. So that's
Okay. Any discussion? Any other nominations? Seeing none. Any discussion?
He worked on Regina Gates.
Seeing none. Any abstentions? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Raise your card if you support Andrew Sandoval. All right. By unanimous consent, Andrew Sandoval. Endorsed. Okay. Next race.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to amend our process and jump ahead quickly to City of Soledad City Council in the interest of time.
Okay. Go ahead.
The endorsement committee has endorsed for City of Soledad City Council Alejandro Chavez.
Who we just endorsed for supervisor recently.
Okay. Any other nominations from the floor?
Question. Were all 3 candidates invited to submit a questionnaire?
Yes, all were invited and he's the only one who responded.
What's the name?
The other 2 was a decline to state and Republican.
Everybody,
He's
the
not a
mayor,
Democrat on.
I'm sorry, I meant the mayor. The mayor is a Democrat. He was invited, he didn't respond.
But Maricela Lara,
Hey, Linda has the floor.
Declined to state.
Linda has the floor.
she's not declined to state. she's
But
a
Linda has the floor.
Yeah. So, Adam, I don't know if maybe you can look that up to see if that's accurate information. Because to my knowledge, I think she's a registered Democrat.
And also in our rules, it does say that while we will reach out to everyone, the onus is on the candidates to come to us to say, I'm a Democrat, I want your endorsement, and we did reach out.
So Lynn, is this other candidate for city council or for
So
mayor?
there's another candidate, Maricela Lara, who's running for city council.
She's a Democrat.
Okay.
And
So,
she should be a registered Democrat.
She's a registered Democrat.
The information-
And her email is on the website, so
The information we had was declined to state, but
no, she's never had declined to state.
They emailed to get invited to participate in the questionnaire.
no.
she wouldn't have been invited
No, we
if they
sent it to
didn't.
Ledesma, but not to her, because the information we had.
So she was not sent to
Is that
her.
for me?
That's correct, because we had declined to state for her, but it's a mistake.
What's your last name?
It's not declined to state, it's a Democrat.
Lara.
She's slow down. I'm sorry, I got kind of bad internet here. It's slow.
So while he's looking, could we do a different race?
Yeah.
So we have no recommendation.
This is the last one.
No.
Okay.
Probably could just use the-
Yeah.
This isn't gonna happen
That's fine,
quickly.
move forward to
That's right.
So she is declined to state.
What's Maricela, declined to state?
Okay.
32.
What's the address?
114 Murrieta, Soledad. She lives with Leticia, Maricela, Sandra, and Jose. I don't know. She's the only, like I said, Rada Hazel who's registered to vote. And she's 32. That sounds about right. And she's declined to stay. Unless she registered as a Democrat like a day ago. But he is like named within a few
You
days.
can't change after you're running for office.
Okay, so I'm going to close nominations for Soledad City Council. We have Alejandro Chavez. Any discussion?
We endorsed him for your supervisor.
Okay. Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 22. All right, raise your card if you support the endorsement of Alejandro Chavez.
If you support the endorsement committee.
Correct.
We need
All right.
14.
I think we got 14. So I'm going to move on. Alejandro is endorsed. Next race.
Back to Seaside.
The City of Seaside Mayor, the Endorsement Committee, after much deliberation, put forward the name of Kayla Jones for Mayor of the City of Seaside.
Okay. Do you want to share some of the debate or thinking of it?
I was on the interview with Ian Oglesby. Ian is a bright candidate. He has some really good positive ideas for the city of Seaside. I was impressed with his responses. One of the questions had to do with what was he going to start with, and he said he had a 100-day plan. And I thought that was just really, really refreshing. I don't have all the notes in front of me. I think Ian would represent the city well, and he was very energetic and enthusiastic about the race, not disparaging of any other candidates, but really felt strongly that he was the best candidate for the job.
Okay. And what about Kayla?
And the reason why we chose Kayla, which was really difficult because we do have great candidates here, is electability. She's in office and she has secured more votes than Ian in the past when she has run for office. She, for the same reasons we heard earlier, embodies what the future is. You know, folks like me and older, the future are the young people. And, you know, when they're ready to lead and they're capable of doing it, it's time to follow. I thought that there was another person who was going to speak on this, but that person is not standing up, so I'll keep talking until that person stands up. And, okay, great.
Thank you for keeping my seat warm, Erin. But I'm very happy, I'm Gertrude Smith, a resident of Seaside. I'm very happy to have been able to sit on Councilmember Kayla Jones' interview. I feel like she embodies what we are looking for in the city of Seaside as a young person, as a member of the LGBTQ+ community, as somebody who was elected and has been a strong, present, progressive voice. And I look forward to continuing to see her be that strong voice in the capacity as mayor, where she will have more abilities to be able to appoint council members to various regional committees and have us strengthen our presence and build consensus, not just within our city, but also within our region, and to have better relationship building within the community, within the region. And so that's why I'm very happy to have been a part of the decision to support Kayla Jones, and I'm proud to have been a supporter of Kayla Jones from the first vote in our deliberation.
Okay. So, any other nominations? Yes, Dominic.
Similar to Salinas, I would simply nominate Ian Oglesby. I respect what service he's given this community in the past 2 years.
Ian Oglesby is also nominated. Okay. Discussion? Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to say I'm a little on the fence for both of these candidates. So in light of Kayla being on our city council, and all the young people are liking Kayla, as with her new young ideas, there are the older community in our community of Seaside that is not so happy with Kayla right now. Kayla is my alternate right now. So I am going to ask that we dual endorse.
We'll have to, first we'll have to endorse both of them, but I'm gonna go around this way, Anthony.
Yeah, so why am I supporting Kayla Jones for mayor of Seaside? I think a better question is, why not support her? She's the future of what politics can be in California. And a lot of us like to call ourselves progressives. And there cannot be someone more progressive than mayor of Seaside. And I really like what Dominic said when we supported Tyler was, we're supporting because how many young African-American LGBT people run? Well, we're lucky enough to have 2 of them in Monterey County. And Kayla, although may not have the quote-unquote experience that her opponent has, she has the passion, the drive, and she's not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. She's not afraid to look special interests in the eyes and say, no, you've had your day of reckoning, it's time to let the people, it's time to let the people have a voice. And that's why I'm supporting Kayla Jones. Because once again, an independent leader who's not afraid to stand up on her convictions and fight for what's right. And this is what the Central Committee should support.
Thank you.
Well, as you've noticed, I've been abstaining on many votes, and that's because I want to follow this with Bill Lonnie, who I'm representing, and there are some races where he's asked me to abstain. And this is one of them. We've got a response. He has long-time collaboration with Ian, and with great respect for Kayla in this particular race. He's asked me to abstain.
Looking around, Bill.
Yeah, as a very old, white, straight dude. There's a lot that has been said about the Democratic values, and I'm very familiar with this document. It is the California Democratic 2016 platform. I believe Kayla fits this to a T, more so than most of the other candidates. And I truly support her. I think she's a very reliable Democrat. And I think she is part of the blue wave. Thank you.
I've known Ian for about 5 years. He attends regularly the Seaside City Council meetings. And I agree that Kayla is the new wave. I commend her for what she has done and who she is. But I personally am looking at the issues that Seaside, City of Seaside faces and need experience. Kayla has time to build that experience. We need the experience like the mayor. I will also say maturity is also a major issue with Kayla, and again, I don't mean to criticize her. There was a city council meeting when the issue was whether the city of Seaside would give waivers to the LGBT organization that was going to put on their celebration. It was a march and celebration. I believe it was in a discussion that we had, obviously, members of the church community present their feelings during public comment. It turned into a little bit of a ruckus. Words were exchanged. And I believe, and I hope I'm not misquoting her, but she referred to those who were presenting their views based on their religion as a peanut gallery. A number of...
That is a misquote, so I would like to correct it and give it the opportunity.
Somebody else can rebut. He gets to complete his statement, but you do need to speed up. You're almost
So what I'm saying is comments like that when you're in a position as a council member, you have to be a lot more mature and let the personal feelings
And I also know Ian from the forum meetings. And the thing about what has happened to Seaside is very, very shameful over the years, because the African American community there has been greatly gentrified. The people are no longer there who have a right to be there. They don't have their homes, they don't have jobs. And he was always encouraging other people from the community to attend these meetings so that they can have a voice. And everybody should have a voice. And the most that I always hear about is the LGBTQ community. And whenever we say something about the other church community or whatever, it always seems like they're out of place, like I'm out of place. So we need to have some balance, and like the big guy over there said, we need to have some respect for everybody. Was that you, Ron?
That was me. Oh, Whitey over here.
I just want to say the comments about Kayla's statements during the debate about the Peninsula Pride Parade. Protecting our underrepresented communities, that's democratic value. And right now in this country, we're dealing with a major shift towards fashion. I think it's so rare in this country, but because of that dickhead that we have in our presidency, everybody thinks that it's okay to act like the biggest. And as Democrats and as progressive people, it's our job to confront them, because if we don't act, if we act like it's not happening, then that's how fashion gets sets in. And so, even if we have to fight with these people, that's what you do. I'm not saying you punch a Nazi, but I am saying you ridicule Nazis when they come up. So when people are speaking out against the LGBT community or any community, it's on Democrats to stand up to them in public and vociferously. And I think it's really commendable that Kayla did that. And I think that we should, I don't know, I'm going to applaud her. Stand up to older people. So I have the voice of my foot.
So I just want to let everyone know that Caroline is coming because they see the money. And Seaside, with their leadership, with Rob Rubio, has continued to allow that troop to come. And Ian stood up and supported and said they have good ideas and good policies, but they don't have good policy. And I support Kayla because I think she's going to put a stop to that. She's going to stop the creep. She's going to put protection to public water. And the Seaside is a critical point in Fort Ord and in the peninsula. We need someone strong for water. Caroline is coming and continue to have these old policies of privatization and development. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get higher water rates. So I'm supporting Kayla because I disagree with how Seaside is going.
Okay. Natalie.
I like Ian very much, and I like Kayla very much. This is a hard decision. I am going to support Kayla because I've known her a long time, and I think she brings a fresh and exciting new voice and ideas to Seaside. This is the first time that I can remember where you're really hearing the things we're talking about Seaside, and I think a lot of that is due to Kayla's activism. And she came to my class and talked to my class as well, which is awesome. That's not why I'm endorsing her. But she's civic-minded. I think that she could do some exciting things. So.
Any further rebuttals? Yeah, one. 1 minute.
I don't know both of them personally, but I know Kayla politically. And the one time I did meet her was when we were pushing for Monterey Bay community power and anti-fracking, and she was there for that. And they stuck around that city hall for hours and hours, late into the evening, to make sure that everybody had a chance to speak, to make sure that everybody spoke to the mayor in particular, eyeball to eyeball, because he's very loyal to the union. He's very loyal to construction, very loyal to the need of growth, and I think it's all important, but I do think if you're going to sacrifice the environment for growth, what's the point?
Okay. Anyone else?
At some point.
So, this is actually a really tough race. So, I co-founded Monterey Peninsula Pride with Kayla, and actually it was at a Dems meeting where she came in and she was like, I'm super excited, I have something to share with you, and she pulled me aside at the end of the meeting, and she shared with me the idea, we got that going, and it's going really successful. At the same time, I have to give a shout out to Ian, because Ian has been working with me on this housing coalition. And again, I go back to the point of housing being the most important issue on the peninsula. So, you know, this is the toughest decision of the year. So.
Yeah, I'm not a voting member, but as an alternate member, may I speak?
Yes.
So I'm not going to speak to either candidate because I have a conflict of interest. I just think that we as Democrats ought to take a moment to check in with ourselves and our values. It's been inferred that all people of religious background are somehow Nazis. Well, that was the gist of it, Adam.
No, what I said is people who speak
My point is the comparison was made, the inference was made, it was suggested at the very least. And secondly, to conflate that public water now is somehow backing Ian is entirely false, and that was the implication made by you, sir.
Absolutely.
So, and that is absolutely false. So, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. So I was kind of trying to be quiet so we can move this along. But I just want to thank Ian for working to make our dinner a success. I know a lot of people, you know, involved, but Ian's, there was days when Gary, just me, Gary, and Ian were sitting there, we're scratching our heads, or we're trying to figure out how to bring, you know, money to the party. It's easy here, you guys are voting, this is the easy part. When you're asking for money, when you're trying to keep, you know, our centers open, it's hard. It's really hard. So anyway, I just want to thank Ian for, thank you for doing it.
Erin? Oh, Patty?
I think both Kayla and you, they're really active. Last time when Leon that he was running for the same position, he was a great guy, and I think Kayla is also good for the position. So it's a tough decision.
And I wanted to clarify
So,
with regards to.
I'm sorry, Gertrude, but you already spoke, and so I'm going to make sure everyone can answer.
Okay, so we've all heard it. We've all heard that we have a difficult choice. We have guiding principles here as a group that help make these decisions. And one thing is we have a policy that all things being equal, we choose a woman. In this case, that policy does not matter because you don't have two equals, you have a superior candidate. In that, by the numbers, this is not quality as individuals, it's numbers. She got many more votes than Ian before. She can win this race, and we have this obligation to make these tough decisions. This is not against Ian. This is pro Kayla, that she is the best candidate. You notice how the Monterey Downs thing that was dragging along for years, when she came on board, it flipped over once she got on. The board was stalled with our democratic values, and they are moving forward with the new council. So it's Kayla as mayor, and whatever's going to happen in the next race. And then when she wins, there'll be the vacant seat that someone else can be placed in as a council member. Regional appointments are very key for the mayor. They're very important for our values. Again, she's moving things, willing to move things along with what we heard in our interview. Do not do a duel. We do not recommend that because there is a third candidate who is not a Democrat. And if you do a duel, we're toast. The only chance of winning, we're back like we were before. You know, there are two Democrats, one seat. We have to choose. And also, I was in the chambers that day when bigoted, hateful comments were made, and the mayor did not gavel people who were yelling at a council member, and the council member chose to speak up on behalf of some people, oppressed people who were being spoken to in a way that should not be tolerated in public. So I concur with Adam. I am a person of faith. My religion doesn't call for that kind of language, and she stood up to them. So I admire that, and we strongly recommend Kayla.
Okay, so Dominic, did you speak before?
No, I can't wave my hand.
I think you did, Dominic. I'm sorry. So,
I made a motion
Bob, go ahead.
I would like to make a clarification about what this gentleman said. At the time that Kayla made the comment about the peanut gallery, several of those ministers and some of the others supporting them were back there disrupting the council meeting. They were making loud noises and everything. And the fact of the matter is, some of them were making very bigoted remarks. And so Kayla's comment about the peanut gallery was quite appropriate, and his remarks distorted that whole situation. Okay,
so Dominic, you're saying you didn't speak?
We just made a motion. Who to nominate somebody, that's it.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So, I am not really putting one candidate above another. The only reason I really did this is a couple of things. First off, this competition has brought out, I will say, the best in the candidates, but not in the supporters. But as we talk about the challenges that Seaside are going to face, you see this competition making them have to go and find that extra something within them in order to win support of people like the community here and out in the community. I mean, I see these two going around almost as much as I see Luis. Pretty amazing to me. And I think it's because of this competition. So I don't put a candidate over each other here in this. I will say I admire both candidates, but I am a bit unnerved about the supporters. That's it.
Okay, anyone who hasn't spoken yet? All right, then I'm going to just say...
Can I speak for that?
Yeah, sure. Are you a member? No. Any member? Okay. I'm going to just say I admire both these candidates, and I think we all do, and that's why this is such a spirited discussion. Ian has really helped out a ton, not just with the gala, but with other events. He's been very involved. Kayla, since she's been on the council, has really pushed many, many issues we care about, like minimum wage, like sanctuary city, LGBTQ rights, and affordable housing. So it's a tough decision. I'm going to go with the recommendation of the committee, even though I admire both of them. All right, now is there any rebuttals that must be said? And please try to not make it personal, because we have to all work together and live together for a long, long time. Oh, yeah. You rebuttal?
Yes, just one. I have been on this committee for many, many years, helping out in every way that I can. And it seems as though when it comes to our ethnic people, for the African American folks, we seem to be pitted against each other all the time. And we're the ones that's losing out. Like I said, the African American community has been greatly gentrified in Seaside, which is where most of them was. We were at 3% on the entire community. Entire county, but now it's even less than that. I don't see the concern for what has been happening to our community. We're talking politics and we're talking water and
Levon, you got to get to the point of that question.
The point is, I still don't see the care that's needed for the economic plights, the health effects that we have encountered from this big humongous base that created all this mess in the first place. Nobody seems to care. Everybody cares about what they want to care about.
Okay, thank you. So, go ahead.
So, only thing I want to say is clarify, respect everybody, but one thing that was said that was wrong. When me and Kayla ran against each other, it was 3 for 2 spots. So she got more votes than me because you guys gave her the accountability. But I think head-to-head, that'd be a little different. So my only point is that shouldn't be used against me by saying I lost to her by a lot of votes. You guys gave the top bill now, and that's how it happened. And so I still respect her and everybody else.
I would like to say one
Is this a
clarifying.
rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay.
I would just like to make one clarifying point. So I was at the Seaside City Council meeting when we were requesting the fee waiver for Pride. And Ian actually got up and spoke in favor of what we were doing, regardless of the comments that Bob was saying in regards to the peanut gallery. I think Ian was just identifying the way that it was being communicated, not that he was against the LGBT community and supporting them. His comments were in support of the LGBT community. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I've been focusing on water laws throughout the whole night. And the reason why I've been focusing on that is important to the community. Everything is going to affect the whole region. So if one person is voting, if someone can continue to challenge public water, that's my stance. And that's the stance of the public. And you can look it up in the minutes and fora, and you'll see Rob Rubio's vote and how Ian has voted with Rob Rubio.
That's not.
Okay, I think that if you have to, it kind of feels like the conversation is evolving, but go ahead. Yeah.
Didn't someone suggest a dual endorsement might be possible?
A dual endorsement is, but the way our rules are set up, we would have to first fail to get an endorsement for both of them. And then it can be made. And I think probably the reason for that is, it's not ideal. Even though we don't want to make a choice, you know, you could end up with that third candidate winning. So, all right, any abstentions? I see one, I see two, I see three. Lavon, you're abstaining? 4. Okay, so that means we got 29, which is 18. Okay, so raise your card if you support the recommendation of the Endorsement Committee for Kayla Jones, and hold down so we can count. Okay. So next one is Kayla Jones is endorsed. Okay.
Wait, hold up, that's it? I'm endorsed?
Yes.
Next race. Next race.
City of Seaside, City Council. The Endorsement Committee would recommend Regina Mason and John Wizard.
Okay. So the endorsed, there are 2 seats, and the Endorsement Committee is recommending Regina Mason and John Wizard. Are there any other nominations for the panel?
nominate Jason Campbell.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Dominic?
As much as I'm a supporter of the
No, do you have a nomination? This is not the time to debate.
the recommendation.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the recommendation?
Tyler, are you on the committee?
Wait, hold on. Endorsement Committee needs to comment.
Okay, it sounds like, you know what? Let's take a 5-minute bathroom break, or we're all going to want to go back.
David, Patty, Dominic, comments.
Yeah, we still need order. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, there's a correction to the results as reported earlier.
Okay.
The correct recommendations were Jason Campbell and Regina Mason for Seaside City Council.
Okay, and is there any other nominations?
Nomination.
Okay, John Wizard is also nominated. Okay, and what was the thinking of the committee in this case?
Who's going to speak? I've talked a lot, who else is going to speak?
All right, Bill?
Just a question. So there's 2 positions, we have 3 Democrats, who else is running?
So, go ahead. We have two positions, 3 Democrats.
There are 5 candidates for this office. There are 4 Democrats and 1 Republican.
So Sam Gaskins, who is a Democrat, also applied, and we did not, it was a unanimous feeling that he was, while an outstanding gentleman and he does wonderful work in the community, that he was not qualified to be city council, as these other 3 folks clearly were. So the thinking was, again, this is not personal, Jason Campbell is the incumbent. Democrat has a higher chance of getting reelected, and Lacey's done something really bad. Jason has done nothing, has done nothing to lose our support. And also with the sunsetting of Fora, he holds such a knowledge of the history of Fora that will be very beneficial to Seaside. So he is an essential piece of that. Making a decision between these 3 folks was very difficult. With Regina, it is, again, the breadth and depth and length of her service to the community. Again, electability versus John's positions are wonderful. He is a fabulous human being, and his positions are right on in all cases. He is relatively new to the community with respect to Regina. And so that was another factor. But they all had great positions. It was a matter of electability and keeping a certain majority or going to a certain majority on that board. And others may have more to say.
Okay, so comments, go ahead.
Yes, it's like I mentioned earlier, I've been in regular conversations with John. He goes to almost every single floor meeting that and we've been talking about how Marina and Seaside can work together in addressing the issues of Florida. So to say that, or to suggest that he may not be qualified enough in his knowledge, as far as I know, he spent the last year at least digging deeply into every single issue. And he's pretty outstanding and open-minded and collaborative. So, John was
definitely qualified.
So it is not just a decision. I have worked with Regina Mason with the Village Project, highly respect her. I adore John, he's got a good sense of humor. And Jason has been a good city council person. I'm going with Jason and John because I think by far they have the best qualifications for the position.
Just wanted to mention, John was recently endorsed by our state senator, Bill Monty. He's been endorsed by Jay Parker. And every single place that I go, he's there. And I was trying to go to a lot of places. I was trying to go with him. And he's beating me. I don't know. The other thing that I know about John is John is not taking anything for granted in this race. He is working his ass off. I think he's already knocked on 2,500 doors. And I don't think anybody else running this race can say the same. And as a Democrat, taking it to the voters, that's what we're about. We're about talking to the people, and I don't think anyone can say in this election, for this election, that they tried to knock on 2,500 doors, or probably even 100 doors. So my score is going with John.
Yeah, I'm again with the Monterey Peninsula Renters United, and John has been extremely active with everything that we've been involved in. He has shown up to Pacific Grove, Sand City, Monterey Council meetings, whenever we've had any issue whatsoever having to do with affordable housing. Whether it has to do with new development, he's aware and actually talking about the fact that the problem that we have, whether it's water and or housing, which are tied together, is regional. And I think it's really important that we have candidates that are finally going to lock arms as a region and address these problems that we have, because you have each individual city doing whatever they want and nobody is actually able to move forward. For example, we have Pacific Grove doing short-term rentals, Seaside doing short-term rentals, Monterey is not. It affects everybody. It's you know, so John is my has my 100% support.
I'd like to give my support for John Wood also. And as everyone has said, he's always there, he's everywhere. Just this weekend, he was out in Seaside feeding the homeless. I see him on the social media media, plugging himself, plugging events, other than any other candidate that you have mentioned. Jason Campbell, he's been there so long, so I think he thinks that he's entitled to have that seat. And Regina Mason, I grew up with Regina, and she has done a wonderful job with the Village Project. I have nothing against that, but what else has she done with Seaside? She is a product of Seaside, as I am a product of Seaside as well. But I don't see her out knocking on doors. She is the president of the NAACP. But I would go, if I had to go with two candidates, I would go with Regina and John.
I think I saw you over here. Did it?
You're right.
Okay, go ahead.
I did have some experience with Mr. Campbell, with the Measure Z, and he was supportive of that, and also Monterey Community Power, and that was a big deal for the effort for the region. So in the regional way, he is thinking broader based that way. I don't really know him personally, so I don't know his personality and stuff, and I've learned through the years that eventually everybody has to bow down to the money thing and the campaigns. I mean, you see him doing it now to us. You know, because we're going to hopefully put out some money in some of these campaigns. So money is like the root of some evil, and it stirs up a whole lot of it in politics with donors. And I just see that these big guys are putting a lot of money to make sure that the right people get elected and that people care for the community don't. And you see that in Monterey County because each one of the mayors voted against Measure Z. So they're not giving a damn about our water nor our employment. And that's our community people. And we just endorsed one of them earlier. I campaigned against her, obviously, you guys heard me. And I would support this gentleman, Mr. Campbell and John, for those two positions.
Okay. Lavon?
Yes, God sure is good. You know, I don't know this man. I mean, I've been going to those forums before there was a forum, and I don't know him. And the thing about it is, Fora is the worst organization that I have ever seen to come into a community where the federal government has taken away hundreds of jobs, leaving people in the street homeless, without food, without all these folks that came in here riding on their horses, wanting to take Fort Ord for a gold mine, and they have done that. They have been allowed to do that. Fora needs the sunset, and they need the sunset in a hurry. We've spent billions of dollars here on the peninsula, and I don't know where it went, and nobody that I know knows.
So Lavon, who are you supporting?
Okay, well, Regina Mason, at least she's been here, and she's been in the city of Seaside. At least she knows something about the history and what's going on. There's people that don't know nothing about the history here. All they seem to care about is what they want to do with their dreams and aspirations.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So between Mr. Campbell and Mr. Wizard.
Yes?
I'm hearing that your main concern is electability. So just off the top of your head.
I mean, ask the rest of the committee. I mean, I didn't read. I have pages and pages of
Well,
notes.
it seems that the committee's main focus is electability. So does anyone know what the percentage of Democrats versus Republicans in the city of Seaside?
It's pretty high.
I'm worried about high and low.
It's been a while since I looked. I guess 60%.
Why are we worried about electability? You got one Republican candidate, from what I understand, and 3 Democrats. You're saying that Campbell is 4. Okay, so in the case of Campbell versus Mr. Wizard, you're saying that experience?
I would prefer you direct your comments to the whole
What
group.
I'm getting
personally.
from this committee is that experience trumps youth when it comes to the issue of.
Okay, so sir, who do you support and why?
I support John.
Okay. Anything you want to say about why you support it?
Because I'm like, I just support John.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say a word about Jason. I think Jason Campbell, again, is a reliable supporter of democratic values. I think if it wasn't for him, we would probably have more ups and downs with Fort Ord. He took a lot of abuse from the city mayor in slight comments, and we really appreciate that. And I think he is for most of homeless folks and having support and people who do not have voice.
Okay, Dominic, what's your?
Yeah, I'm supporting John because I'm simply astounded by what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, you can call it a short time, but it just makes it that much more impressive. But whether doing press relations, NAACP chapter, hosting a housing event, the guy has picked up so much knowledge about these issues that we need better education on, and he's worked to educate people on. You know, housing forums are starting to pop up more throughout our county, thankfully. There's one in Monterey, Seaside, Salinas, and these things are very much necessary. You know, if I could get a John Salinas or at least steal him away from me, I'd be pretty happy.
Okay, so it's Ahmed and then Ian.
Well, I'm supporting John, not because he's my alternate here.
That's good.
But he likes to wear a pink shirt, he's not afraid to wear pink.
All right, Ian?
It's
You know,
52%
Seaside needs the best, this community, or this committee said they want to send the best. John is outpacing everybody.
Thank you. Harry, Tyler?
Okay, so Bill, I'm representing Bill. Bill asked me to vote for John, for Jason, and for Regina.
Oh.
And they all have strength. You know, I think the only, I know Regina goes back further than some of the other two candidates, but Jason and John, I think, have figured out the electoral politics thing. I mean, I actually think they're probably more electable than Regina, but I'm casting my vote for all three of them.
Tyler?
So, I mean, I'm not even quite sure about the second seat, but I almost want to say, like, let's do a single endorsement for John just because of how stellar he is and how much he's going to need our support. He's just been out there leading the front, and I mean, he's at everything. I mean, there's just been so many comments been said tonight already. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about John. If you're going to knock him for not being an elected official prior, well, that's, I think, everything against what we're about here. So I'm all about John. I'm a John fan club guy. Elect John.
I'd just like to make a point briefly about electability and point out that, as I recall, and Jason, you know, no slight against him, but he was electable only once with the Democratic Party, because when he ran before, he did not win. So in that respect, I think on a level playing field, you know, I just don't feel like electability should be you know, such a big factor. And I personally agree with the many statements that have pointed out that John is really outpacing everyone, outworking everyone, and I'm pretty sure he's solid on the issues too.
All right, are we done?
Yes, I want to say something about John, and these are very powerful words to me, and that is humble expert. I've observed John at meetings where I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. He's at this meeting, he's at this meeting. And he doesn't swallow the microphone. I've seen a number of people that get up there and swallow the microphone. While people are swallowing the microphone, he's processing. He's taking in information. And then if you ask him about the experience later on, he's like a firebolt. So I want you to consider that sometimes the most flamboyant, the most extroverted leader is not always the best one. So I want you to consider John. My vote is for John. Humble expert. I think that's really refreshing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Thank you. Not quite. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I think that people have underspoken about Jason. Jason has done a great deal since he's been on the city council. And I think in a lot of ways, not only has he supported Caleb, but I think he's also inspired me. And he's one of the people who I've heard the most talk about how poor is such a terrible thing, and the guy who's there poor. And I think that I have all respect in the world for Regina Mason. But I think that Regina is running on her reputation as a wonderful woman who's done a lot of things in the WCP and many other things. But she's not really out there campaigning like Jason and John are. And I don't know if she's, well, she may have been on a council sometimes before, I'm not sure. But I still think that the best bet would be to support Jason and John. And I must say, I don't think it's a good idea to just do a triple endorsement.
Can I go?
No. All right, are we ready to vote? It is 10 o'clock. Okay, let's vote. Okay. So, first of all, is there anyone abstaining from this vote?
For who?
For city council? Well, honestly, I was looking back. I think you should abstain, period, and not pick and choose. As I'm looking back at the policies, I know, but all right. So we're going to go in the order of the recommendation committee. So we'll be considering Jason first, then Regina, and then John in that order. So first for Jason, who is abstaining? I see abstaining for this first vote. I see 1, I see 2, I see 3. Okay, so we're at 3.
There was 4.
Who's the 4th?
Lavon.
Oh, Lavon, are you abstaining?
Did you know she thinks?
Okay, I didn't see it. So,
Okay,
so
so
then we're
it's
at
Linda,
29.
Tyler, Lavon, and Esther are abstaining.
4.
So it's 29.
So you need 18. Okay, so raise your card if you support the recommendation of the endorsement committee for Jason Campbell.
You can vote for 4.
You can only vote for 2. Don't play games too.
Jason Campbell.
Jason Campbell.
I'm sorry.
Patty, is yours up? Leave it up, people.
16.
Leave it up, people.
I think it's 16. We have Cassidy, is that what you got? Okay, so 16 is not enough. Okay, the next candidate that was recommended by the committee is Regina Mason. Are there any abstentions? I see 1. Just 1. Okay, so we have 32. So let's
That's
add
first.
the
32 times 0.6.
19.
18.
20.
20. Okay. So remember, you only get 2. You only can vote yes for 2 people. All right. So if you support the endorsement committee's recommendation of Regina Mason, raise your card.
You get 16?
Again.
In either case, okay.
Close enough.
All right, so not endorsed by the committee, but nominated is Jason Campbell. John Wizard, excuse me. Not endorsed, not recommended, but nominated is John Wizard. So, is there anyone abstaining from this vote?
Abstaining.
Well, but what if you voted twice already? That's not abstaining.
I just want to know who's abstaining. 1? Is that it? All right, so it's the same thing. He needs 20. All right, all those in favor of John Wizard with their second vote.
Damn!
All right, I think it's safe to say John So
motion.
So in the second spot, everybody vote for John, and the second seat, either Regina or Jason, like we did before. That way you're not taking.
Holly?
From Holly.
Okay, so is there a second? Holly made the motion?
I second.
Okay, Alicia made the second, so in this case, you would be voting to endorse both of them for the second seat.
So everybody vote for John, big tie, either of the two on the second.
All right, any abstentions? Abstentions. I don't see any. All in one. All in, 30 seconds.
Okay, I don't think we can do this because I think what we got right out of the vote, if everybody really wanted John, I think your voter agency reimbursement program, it can be really hard for people to get that we really want John, and we want these other two. So I would recommend that we approve this motion. I already said we're so important that John Wizard is lost over that way.
Okay, any abstention? I think just 1, 2, 1. All right, raise your card if you support a dual endorsement for the second seat.
Okay, when we pitch.
I don't think we got enough.
Okay, y'all gotta take the
Okay.
picture.
So, all right. Okay, so John Wizard is endorsed. Next race, how many other races we got? That's it? Okay, that it?
So that is it for the races for this evening.
Yay!
There are many other races being conducted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody in the back, we can't hear, and this is important.
Your endorsement committee is formulating a priority of races. And they're gonna submit it to the co-chairs by Thursday. So lobby them for which races you think should be covered in our next round. We are tentatively scheduling September 12th for the next endorsement meeting.
David,
What time? What time on September 12th? 6:30.
Here?
6:30
Here. Okay, everybody, so please take note of that.
We can't finish.
September 12th, 6:30, here to complete the endorsements. All right, I think,
The deadline for questionnaires has passed. So don't go promoting more questionnaires. They're determined in their questionnaires.
so I think in the interest of the time of the hour, I am going to adjourn this meeting. I do want to just let you know that Gavin Newsom is coming to Salinas on when?
So it's Friday, September 14th, 10 a.m. It's at the Duke's headquarters office, 123 Capitol Street. If you need any details, feel free to hit me up.
And we would like as many people there as possible.
We are holding because of parking.
What's the name on the front desk?
It's free.
September what?
Fridays, it's right there on the board. You can take a picture of the flyer.
Tyler?
So I just want to regretfully identify, just want to make a quick motion if I think that's appropriate. I appreciate the opportunity today to be sworn in as an alternate for Erin Fogg. I did bring with me Regina Bezonia and Emma Garcia. I would like to ask the committee's endorsement for a full seat. Obviously, it makes me one young, motivated Democrat. I'm alternate on this committee, join the communications committee. And I don't know if it needs to get my vote.
No, that's exactly. Especially because